Hello, hello, hello. Alchemist here. I hope you're having an amazing time wherever you are. This is a live session that I decided to do for you guys out of nowhere. If some of you will join, then it's okay. If not, you can watch the remake. So it's all good, even if you don't get to participate in this live session. But I just felt called to do it. And I have certain things I want to share with you. And it's just sometimes when spirits give you something, transfer something to you, then you have to also give it in return. You have to share it as well. You can't keep it in. When you have a gift, you have to share it. You have to share it. That's your duty as a living soul, as an alchemist. Hello, Nick's Intuitive Soul Tribe. So today I'm going to talk about alchemy and how it changed my life and how it can change your life and why it is so important. And alchemy, at first, I want to mention that it's not something that you really choose. You don't necessarily go looking for alchemy and choose it and think that it's gonna be your path or it's gonna be your tool for transformation, because there are many tools out there and alchemy is just one of them. But alchemy will find you. It's gonna come to your life out of nowhere. It's not the other way around. You don't go looking for alchemy. Hello, Cariel Lightyear. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you guys for joining this live session. So alchemy just was introduced to my life. I don't even know exactly how. It just happened. And that's why I practice it and that's why I do it. So it's not something that you go looking for. It's something that's going to come to you. And when it comes to you, you're just going to have to research it. You're just going to have to deal with it. Because at the end of the day, you serve the path of alchemy. You don't do alchemy so you can benefit something from it. You do it so you can serve the path. You're chosen to serve the path. What is this path? Is to share the knowledge of alchemy, because that knowledge can be a beacon of light for some other people. It can help some other people. And that's the mission, is to share what you're given with other people. You don't do it for money. You don't do it for fame. You don't do it to become successful. You don't do it to become a public figure or to gain something from it. The moment you start thinking that you're going to gain something from it, it's not going to work. There's many people out there nowadays in the new age community calling themselves alchemists. I'm alchemy this, alchemy that. If you think you're doing it for fame, for success, to gain something from it, or for money, it's not going to work. And you should just drop it. Alchemy, you're chosen to serve the path. The path of what? The path that can guide other people. That's it. That's what alchemy is for. And that's why it tends to be complicated, because it's really the knowledge that can help you understand the universe. It's the knowledge that can help you understand creation. It's the knowledge that can help you get to your philosopher's stone. And once you get there, you can become godlike. So it's not for everyone. Alchemy is very sacred. It's not for everyone. And most people don't understand it. That's why a lot of people are having a hard time to understand alchemy. They go research it, they don't understand it, and then they go back to doing crystals and tarot, even though tarot is part of alchemy. But I'm not saying that crystals are bad or anything like that, but I'm just saying that it's a complicated philosophy. It's a complicated art. And it's an art. That's why it's called the art of transmutation, not the science of transmutation. So to understand it, it takes a lifetime. It's not something that you just gain within a year or two. I myself, I'm still learning every day. And as I'm learning, I'm sharing with you. So it's not something that you're just going to gain by watching a couple videos here and there, or by like doing an ayahuasca retreat for 2 days and come back and say, I'm an alchemist. because my ayahuasca ceremony showed me this or that. It doesn't work like that. It's a lifetime, and transformation takes lifetime. Sometimes it takes many lifetimes to go through just one transformation, which is what I'm going to talk about in this session, about transformation and how it happens, and why is it even important to transform? What's the point of transforming, right? Um, Hello, hello. Hey, hello, Jackie, Jeremiah, uh, Janie, Seraphim, Modo Culture, The Morning Star. Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate you joining this session. Um, um, Modo Culture. You asked, did alchemy come to you? How is one chosen? How did it just comes to you? Like at first, for me, it was just um, I was delving into spirituality, into the new age, and I couldn't find any answers. I was delving into the realm of like meditation, Hinduism, chakra, yoga, all of these things that you find about the new age, and those things they didn't really help me much. They were good. They were like an introduction to the things that was going on in the initial spiritual awakening I had, but they didn't really help me find that core of who I truly am. And I don't even remember how alchemy became part of my life. Tarot had to do with it. Major arcanas of tarot had to do with it because it's all intertwined with Hermeticism, with the Hermetic tradition, alchemy, the Emerald Tablet. And I address this in my channel as well. The Emerald Tablet, not the Emerald Tablets, the book. There's a book that's called The Emerald Tablets, but more is Dorial. It's not that. I'm talking about the Emerald Tablet, one page by Hermes Trismegistus, which is a text that dates back to thousands of years, and dates back to ancient Egypt. So these things just kind of fused with my life at some point after doing anything you can imagine that the new age tells you to do. New age spirituality, whatever they tell you to do, I've done it. In the first years of my awakening, I've done everything, and I was still feeling miserable, still feeling unchanged, still feeling like nothing was happening in my life. And alchemy helped me embrace my darkness, which I talk about all the time. Embrace your darkness, embrace your darkness, embrace your darkness. Alchemy taught me that because the first stage of the grand work of alchemy is nigredo, it's the darkness. So in alchemy, you can't start your transformation unless you're in the darkness. You have to start first with darkness. That's where you start. Whereas when you go to these new age teachings, and some of them are good, some of them are not, but many of them are misleading. Most of them just tell you to reach the light. And they start talking about things from a religious perspective, which later on I realized that most new age people are just Christians. They're Christians who now are sugarcoating Christianity with new age. And they start talking as if they're Christians, but in a new age language, if that makes sense. At first I was tricked, and then I realized that, and I'm like, well, this is just like, it's like you telling the light and search the light, and this light here, light there, and be the light and be the. It's Christian concepts. So you're not changing, you're just switching, you're swapping one dogma with another. And you're tricked into believing that you're transforming, but you're not. You're not having any transformation. And I fell into this trap in the beginning. Although my background is not Christian, I don't have a Christian background, but I studied most of the dogmas, most of the religions, and I know about them. I know the details about them, about Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism. But I started realizing that a lot of what the New Age preaches is Christian, especially when you start talking about demons and the underworld and darkness. They're like, oh my God, that's satanic, that's satanic. And I'm like, isn't even the term satanic a Christian thing? So if you claim to be spiritual and you're using the word satanic, like, how does that make sense? That means you believe in Christianity. Because for me, What is Satanism? I don't know. That doesn't ring a bell. If you tell me, oh, that's satanic or that's satanic, it doesn't ring a bell to me. What is satanic? As far as I know, the word Satan means obstacle in Hebrew. That's all it means. Satan means obstacle. So yeah, maybe there's a group of people who created a religion to uh, to go against Christianity, and they called themselves Satanists. But alchemy and these things that I'm sharing and the occult has nothing to do with Satanism. That's a separate religion. So the moment you start talking about demons and about darkness, and which are essential for transformation, people start always referring back to Christianity. They start going back to Christianity. So it means that you haven't shed the layers that you grew up with. The programming you grew up with are still within you if you're scared of demons, if you're scared of the darkness. Because when you're young, you're a Christian and you were told that demons or darkness are bad. And you're still bringing that up, claiming that you're new agey spiritual. So it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Alchemy, it helps you completely put everything that you are leave it behind, like as in everything, like everything. Even at the beginning, the notion of God and creation, you have to throw it in the garbage. It's almost like becoming an atheist. You just have to, at first, you just have to throw every belief that you have to put it on hold, or you have to leave it behind, put it on hold, put it in the closet, and you have to start from scratch, everything from scratch. You can't start bringing religious concepts or Christian concepts into this, even though the Bible, the Quran, the Hindu books as well, the Buddhist books, all of these books have coded knowledge within them that can help through the transformation. Because these sages that came in ancient past, including Jesus and the Buddha, they were just enlightened people who were trying to help humanity. And then humans, because they're always the core of the problem, humans write these books and they change them. And whatever these sages and these enlightened people were trying to transmit, they change it and they start writing different things. And that's why when you read these books, sometimes they don't make any sense. Sometimes they do make sense, and that's probably the part that's correct. And sometimes they don't make any sense at all. So an example is, and that's probably driven from alchemy, is when Christianity talks about the Holy Trinity, right? The Holy Trinity doesn't make any sense. But when you parallel it with alchemy, which has the concepts of the three substances, or the tria prima, which is salt, sulfur, and spirit, or the body, the soul, and spirit, it makes sense. Because it would, these books, they started taking different concepts from different traditions and adding them up and wording them differently. And when you read the whole, it doesn't make sense because it's from everywhere. So sometimes it's good to just leave everything that you think you know. You have to kind of destroy it. You have to leave it in behind you. But how do you do that? How does it start? I'm gonna come to it. It starts with the first thing when you in alchemy, the first stage, which is the darkening stage, is where the dissolution happens. When you have a problem, what do? You try to find a solution, right? So a problem, you solve it. See, it's even in the wording. And that wording in alchemy is called the green language, or the language of the birds. You solve a problem. You don't construct something, you solve it. That's alchemy. Alchemy starts with dissolution. In order to understand who you are, in order to transform, the first thing, the first initial primary thing that you need to understand is dissolution. You have to solve who you are. Solve as in dissolve who you are. Just like a problem, when you try to solve it, to find what? A solution. So you have to dissolve everything that you are. Everything that you think you know, the dogmas, the traditions, the beliefs, the societal programming, what your friends told you, the trends, the distractions, the politics, everything that makes what your life is. And it's the hardest stage, because when when you take all of that from you, you might go crazy, because it's not, because you're gonna start wondering, who am I? Because that's what makes you who you are. You think that's what makes you who you are. All of these traditions, cultures, dogmas, beliefs, programming, it's what makes you who you are. But if you just strip it from your life, then who are you? And that drives people nuts. It's the hardest thing to go through, because when you strip that away, then, and if I ask you the question, who are you, you're not gonna, you, that's scary. That's very scary. If you're not your culture, if you're not your tradition, if you're not the background of your family, if you're not your religion, if you're not your political beliefs, if you're not what you learned at school, then who are you? But alchemy starts with that. That's what alchemy does. It helps you first strip everything, and you're left with just that thing that you have to figure out. What is it? What am I? Who am I? What am I doing here? So that's the first stage, which is the most important stage. It's the darkening. It's when you have to embrace your darkness. Because when you embrace your darkness, you're not going to be fearful. You're not scared. You're not scared to admit that maybe you don't know who you are. And if people ask you, who are you? You say, I don't know. Because now that dark, you're in the dark, but you're still feeling comfortable. Creation comes from darkness. So if you're comfortable in the darkness, nothing will be problematic. And then you can find, slowly but surely, and again, this takes a lifetime or many lifetimes, you can start to find that core of who you are, what makes you who you truly are. And once you go through that dissolution stage, which requires you to drop everything. Think about someone who wants to climb a mountain, or someone who wants to go hiking, for example, just as an example. And they're carrying so much luggage with them. They're having like 10 backpacks and then 2 suitcases, and they're trying to climb a mountain, or they're trying to go somewhere. But they're having 2 suitcases, one on each hand, heavy suitcases, and 10 backpacks. You can't even see their face. You can barely see their faces. They're just like this, and they're walking. Like, that's how most of human beings are. Yet they say, I'm spiritual. No. Or they say, I'm connected to spirit. Or they say, oh, I am very enlightened. No, you're carrying so much with you that you can't even move. You can barely move. We can barely see your face. All of these bags are covering you, and you're having suitcases, and it's heavy. And where are you going to get there with that? Nowhere. And you're going to be very slow in life. If you're having so much, it's going to take you years, many reincarnations, to get to your destination. So what alchemy tells us to do is to drop everything, literally. And that's tough. That's very tough. As in, like, those 2 suitcases, you drop them. The backpacks, drop them on the floor. You just take that stuff and just get rid of it. But what some people do, instead of dropping that's actually what most humanity, that's what they do. They start taking each backpack and emptying it little by little. Little by little, they take the first backpack and they remove something from it, and then remove something else. And that's why transformation, for some people, it takes 5 years, which is quite fast. The Buddha got enlightened within after 6 years. It took the Buddha 6 years of practice, of hard work. In the 7th year, he became enlightened. So that's a short span of time, by the way. 6 years, 5 years, 6, 7 years. That's a short span to reach that state of enlightenment. That's probably the shortest you can get, to drop all of that at once. But what most humans do, because they take it one, very slowly with the backpack example. They take one backpack and remove a little bit, and then a little bit, and then a little bit here, a little bit there, and they're still carrying all of the other backpacks with them. So that's why for most humans, it takes many reincarnations to even get to the point where you realize that you need to drop everything. It might take you 3 lifetimes to just realize that, oh, I'm supposed to not believe in this crap that I used to believe in. It might take you 3 lifetimes to get there. So it's your choice. And I'm here to open your eyes to this so you can choose. Do you want to have that in a short span of time, or do you want it to take many reincarnations? The choice is yours. And the ones who are going to be watching this specifically, because there are no coincidences. The ones who are going to be watching this specifically are the ones ready for this. Because if you're not ready for this, you will not be shown this. Even if this video reaches, I'm just giving an example, 10 million views, and 10 million is a big number. If you're not ready for what I'm saying, even if it has 10 million views, you're not going to be part of that 10 million, because this is only for the ones who are ready to hear it. Because this stuff, first of all, it's not for everyone. And that's why it's occult. That's why it's hidden. That's why many people in ancient past, they formed mystery schools to share this knowledge. They tried to hide this knowledge so much, because if this knowledge is given to the unaware people, given to the bad people, they're gonna do something bad with it. They can use it to control people. They can use it to do bad things. So that's why it's not for everyone. And there are other things also that I cannot share as well. And I will have to find some kind of format to share them, and it has to be private, because you can't just take something precious, like you take something like gold and just go and give it to a random person, because that random person, they're going to take that gold, but maybe what they're going to do with it is not good. Maybe they're going to use it to make other people suffer, or they're not going to use it for the benefit of everyone or for the benefit of humanity. So you can't just take. You guys, the ones who are watching this, you're meant to hear and watch this. You're meant. So it's your choice. What do you want? Do you want the short path? Are you willing to drop everything to embrace your darkness? Or do you want this to take many reincarnations? And many people say, oh, it's okay. The next reincarnation, I'm going to be reincarnated in a better place. I'm going to have a better life. Well, have you ever thought that maybe that's what you said in your past reincarnation as well? Maybe your past reincarnation, that's what you said. And you're saying it again in this reincarnation. So it's not about saying, oh, my next reincarnation is going to be better. No, it's always here in the now, in the present moment. The present is all there is. Are you willing to do the work right now or not? This life, I just had to do it. I did it. It's not premeditated. I didn't think about, oh, I need to do a live. I didn't even schedule it. I'm like, I'm going to do it. And who's ever willing to hear it, they're going to hear it. And that's it. And that's how spirit works. When something comes to you, you have to do it right away. When you channel something, you have to do it right away. If you don't do it right away, someone else is going to do it. And it's okay if someone else does it, but don't cry and whine if someone else does it instead of you. Again, there's nothing wrong or bad about people doing what you wanted to do, but they acted faster, so they can reap the reward for acting faster than you, because that's how spirit works. Why do you think sometimes when you get an idea, for example, right? You get an idea for a project or for something that spirit tells you need to do this. You have this amazing idea, and then you realize within 1 month that many people have the same idea. You think that's chance? You think that's coincidence? No, it's because spirit sends some certain knowledge or idea or whatever it is that needs to be transmitted. It sends it to many people at the same time. And the first person that acts fast on that, they're the ones that reaps the reward. Sometimes many people have to speak to different groups, so many people will transmit that knowledge. I speak to the people who will resonate with me. Some others are going to speak to the people that resonate with them. But when you have something that comes to you, you have to act fast. That's why planning, which is again another construct of our human society, is the worst thing that has ever been taught. Planning is planning is a curse, because when you plan for things, you start having expectations, and you do those plans and you follow them, and maybe those plans take months and years, and then you don't get the result that you were expecting. The plans don't pan out, and you're like, but I followed everything, I planned for this, I planned for this, I followed this, I planned that I was going to do this, and then it doesn't happen, and then it doesn't pan out, because the universe was not allowing that to happen, because it was not meant to be for you, because it was not part of your path. So life has nothing to do with planning. You don't plan to go through your transformation. You hear this video, it comes to you, you start. That's it. You don't say, well, I heard Seth Alchemist saying this about transformation. Maybe I'm going to start tomorrow. Maybe next week I'm going to start this transformation. It doesn't work like that. You hear it, it resonates with you, you start after this video finishes, you start. You see, what can I do to start my transformation? But if you start waiting and lingering around and saying, I'm going to do it next year, I'm going to do it next month, maybe it's not the right time. Oh, I have family. Oh, I have things to take care of. I have this, I have that. Then it's okay. As I said, you can choose that. You have free will. But don't complain if it takes you many reincarnations to go through your transformation. Just don't complain. That's the only thing I tell people. It's okay, it's okay if things don't work out for you. It's okay if things take longer for you. It's okay if you don't see the success that you've been expecting. It's okay if bad things happen in your life, but don't blame people around you or spirit or the universe, or the universe is not on my side. No, it's you. It's always you. You had the chance to take action. You didn't take action. That's it. I have this person I know, and they have this amazing idea to start this spiritual kind of retreat in a certain country, and I've been talking to them about it. It's their project, not mine, and they want to start it, and it's amazing. And the country, the location, everything is amazing. And they have the idea, and the idea is ready. They even have the financial means to start that idea, and it's mind blowing. And but that person told me, because they consult with me, but that person told me, yeah, but I'm gonna start it next year. And I told them, okay, you know, everything you said, it sounds incredible, but why next year? Why not now? Everything is just there, even the financial means. Why next year? And then the person started literally just coming up with excuses. Oh, my job, my this, I have to do this, I have to do that. I'm still living in this place, but I have to move there. And then my job is here, and then my job is. And then I told them, why don't you just quit? Quit, go and start this thing, because it's amazing. And there's a reason why you have this idea in your mind right now. There's a reason why your spirit or the universe is giving you this right now. There's a reason why you're consulting with me about it right now. So why are you telling me that you want to start it next year? And they said, well, no, I think it's next year. I think it has to be next year. And I said, okay, I'm telling you, now is the time. That's all I'm gonna say. But at least I delivered. I delivered what I was supposed to deliver. So when something comes to you and you're ready, and the universe is giving you all the tools you need to do it, why are you waiting for? Oh, being in the comfort zone, being comfortable. Oh, well, my life is like this. My job is like this. My partner is doing this. My partner is doing that. And I've been through that myself as well. I was procrastinating for years about dropping everything, until one day came and I just dropped everything, and I couldn't take it anymore. And one day I just dropped everything, and that's when I liberated myself. And prior to that, when I was just dwelling about it and talking about it, talking about it without taking any action, I was miserable and I was getting illnesses in my body and I was more depressed than ever. And the day I just dropped everything, I felt liberated. But then that in itself is going to be a hard thing to go through. But the first step is to drop everything. And again, as hard as it sounds very hard to just drop everything. And you're going to say, well, I have family, I have kids, I have this, I have that. Do what you can. Do whatever you can. Do whatever you can to take you to that transformation. You want to transform, then you have to drop everything. Everything that you think makes you who you are, it has to stay in the past. And that's how you start your transformation. And alchemy, it's like one of these things that remind you all the time that you have to shed the layers, because many other traditions or knowledge or dogmas, you get into this comfort zone, and you can see this in even with spirituality in general, where people they become spiritual, they start like kind of feeling spirit, which is good. You have a spiritual awakening, you feel spirit, you have an altar, you start doing rituals, you have crystals, and you're good. You start meeting people who are similar to you. You guys start talking, you guys start forming your what do you call that again, soul family. You start forming your soul family, and few years pass by and you realize that you're still stuck there. But then you go around telling others that you're spiritual. I'm spiritual, I'm spiritual, I'm spiritual, I have crystals, I'm spiritual, I do rituals, I'm spiritual. But you're stuck in the same place. That's again another comfort zone. So alchemy reminds you that there's always layers that you need to remove, always stages that you have to go through. You go through the darkening, and then you go through the whitening, and then have to go through the reddening. And when you're done, you reach the philosopher's stone, and then you start the same process again, either on earth at a higher level or in another dimension. So you're always going through the process of transformation. Always, it's never stopping. You're never just in the same place, and just doing the same thing. So that's kind of the trap that a lot of people who go through spiritual awakening, they go through this trap. They stay in that initial stage. That initial stage is good. It's good. I'm not saying it's bad, but staying there for years and years is gonna lead you only to misery and depression. And hear it from me, because I've been there. It's gonna lead you only to misery, and the crystals are not gonna work, and the people you talk to, they're not gonna resonate anymore, even though they're spiritual as well. And you're gonna talk about spiritual subjects, and you go back home and you feel like nothing changed, even though you met that spiritual friend and you talked about spirituality, but nothing is changing in your life, because the change only comes from you taking action. So maybe you need to kind of research something else. Maybe you need to travel. Travel is one of the biggest contributors to transformation. All of the sages of ancient world who became enlightened, go read about them. Don't even listen to me. Go read about them. Every sage that has been enlightened have roamed the planet. Maybe not every country of the planet, but they have traveled for many years. Go research it. Jesus, the Buddha, Muhammad, all of and the other sages before them. Go research, see how they lived their life. You're gonna find that they never stayed in the same spot for their whole life. They always traveled. You travel to different countries. Not tourism, not touristic travel. You don't go travel to just eat and relax and be like what is shown on social media. That's why you have these travel vloggers on social media. They have traveled the whole world, and they're still like dumb as a rock. They're still just the way they talk. I can't believe it. And I'm like, I can't believe you traveled the whole world. I can't believe it. because traveling the whole world is not gonna change you unless you change the intention. How do you travel the world? When you travel, what do you seek? Do you seek to party and drink and get hammered and get wasted and get high? Is that what you seek when you travel? What do you seek? To go to an all inclusive and swim every day and drink every day and just stuff your face with food every day? Is that what you seek for from traveling? Or when you travel, you want to research the culture, research what that culture has been through. What are the monuments, the museums? You go to ancient sites, feel the energy, talk to the people of the land, see why are they the way they are. Even yes, so yeah, you like food. How come the food is like that? Research their culture. That's that kind of traveling, not the traveling that makes you dumb, because you can travel to anywhere in the world right now in 2024. You can travel anywhere and still have the same thing you have at home. You can still have the same parties, the same alcohol, the same drugs, the same entertainments, the same trends, the same music. You can have everything the same at home. So why are you even traveling? Why are you traveling to another country if you don't want to hear what kind of music they have, what kind of traditional music they have? That's just as an example. So what's the point of going to another country? What's the point? You're wasting your money. Might as well save up that money and do something else with it. So traveling can help you with that transformation. And traveling helps you realize that you don't need a lot in life. When you're stuck in the same place for many years, you always feel like you need a lot of things. Because when you're in your comfort zone, you start getting bored. And when you start getting bored, you start having a routine. And when you have a routine, you want things, you want material things. I need to buy this, I need to buy that, I need this, I need that, I need to get this. This new thing came up, I need to buy it. Because you're bored. Because you're always stuck in the same place and you're always looking for external things to make you feel like your life is changing. But when you travel, the exact opposite happens. The exact opposite. You start thinking that, oh, I don't need this, I don't need that. When I started traveling, I like I own like one suitcase and a half. That's how much I own. One suitcase and a half. That's all I have. That's all I own. For material things, I own one suitcase and a half. Wrap your head around that. You can choose to believe it or not. If you don't want to believe it, I don't care. That's all I own. That's all I've been owning for many years. And I'm completely happy. And the places I sleep at, I rent them. And that's why everywhere I go, I'm light. I feel light. I don't feel like I'm having 10,000 things. I used to have the apartment, the car, all of these things. I used to have like tons of equipment and storage, and like I had this and that and this. And I used to have that. I've been through that. I've been through it. But when you travel, you're going to realize that you don't need a lot. It's like the Fool card depiction in tarot. You know, the Fool card that has the figure holding just like the stick with the little bag. When you travel, you're going to realize that life is not about owning things. Life is not about having a lot of things. That's what keeps you dense. That's what keeps you heavy. That's what keeps you stuck in the physical reality. That's why you find it harder to connect to spirit. And this goes even to the spiritual tools we use. Instead of having one crystal and being happy with it, or let's say 2 or 3 crystals, sure, why not? Maybe 5 crystals. No, you feel like you need to have 50 crystals. Instead of having 5 tarot decks and being happy with them, you feel like you need to have 100 tarot decks. It applies to everything. Instead of having like few shirts that you're comfortable with, you feel like you need to have 100 shirts. So being stuck in the same place is dangerous. But you're going to ask me, Seth, that's how humans live around the earth. And I'm going to answer you, yes, I'm aware of that. I've been there. I've been taught that too when I was young. And to get rid of it, it took me years, and it was hard. And sometimes I was going crazy, crazy. Sometimes I've had periods of times where I can't describe how hard it was to get rid of this programming, because since you're born, you're going to be told you need to settle, you need to have a house, You need to have a lot of things, a lot of things. And you need to have a car. You need to have this and this and this and this. So, yes, that's what life has been programmed or shaped on earth. By who? By the people in control, by the elite, by the rich, by the wealthy. Because the 1%, they're smart. They know see the 1%. The ones who run the world, everything I'm telling you, which is ironic, they know it. I'm not talking about there's a lot of wealthy, stupid people. There's a bunch of them, but there's a certain if you want to call it crème de la crème, like at the top. There's 1% that control the world, the super wealthy that people don't even know their names. You're not even gonna find their names online or like publicly. They don't even reveal who they are publicly. They're very high Freemasons that have 33rd degrees, or they're like super, super, super high elites that have access to even knowledge that dates back to Solomon, and books and manuscripts that no one has heard about. Those elites that run the world, that crème de la crème at the 1%, ironically, they know what I'm telling you. They know it. That's why they're at the top. They know it. And their ancestors have designed the world to be like this so humans can be trapped and jailed. But is it their fault? Because that's, again, the problem with humanity. Is it the fault of these people? No. I never condemn these people. I never condemn them. The 1%, I never say, oh, it's their fault. They're controlling us. Because look, I'm free. I chose to break out of their system and I succeeded. So if I succeeded, why can't you? If I succeeded to break out of their control, why can't you? So I don't blame them. It's like, I'm going to give you an example. There's a restaurant that's overpriced, that have mediocre food, and that has a bad vibe. But it's trendy. It's all over social media. Everyone goes there. Everyone tells you to go there. So here's the question. Is it your fault that you go there? Or is it the trend and the people that told you to go there? Is it their fault or is it your fault? No, it's your fault. You chose to go to that restaurant. Why are you going to blame the people who are recommending the restaurant? They're just being sheeps. They're following the trends. They're following, oh, people have to go there. People have to go there. It's trendy. It's popular. It's all over social media. So use your mind, this gift. Be smart. This is, I say a lot of this in this channel. I say that humans are stupid because they don't use their mind. And I encourage people to become smarter. Becoming smarter meaning that using your mind to not fall for the traps that others prepare for you. If it's a mediocre, overpriced restaurant that just have some hype, why do you choose to go there? If you choose to go there, it's your fault. So I don't blame the 1% that are controlling the world. I don't blame them, because it's the humans that choose to fall for their traps. Imagine with me, if all humanity decided to not follow this 1%, just overnight, all of humanity decides to become smart and not stupid anymore, and they're like, we're not following you guys. How come no one does that? How come humans don't refuse to use their minds? Again, why? The comfort zone, because they feel comfortable. They feel comfortable doing what they are. They feel comfortable eating junk food, watching Netflix all the time, watching movies all the time. Oh, this new movie came up. Celebrity here, celebrity there. Oh my God, this celebrity is stunning. This celebrity is gorgeous. Oh my God, this movie here, this movie there. Like, it's, of course, I'm sorry. It's the humans are dumb. They're the ones who fall for this. Like it's not the 1%. The 1% are just, I give them credit. They're smart people. They're smart people who succeeded in controlling billions of people. Kudos to them. So you fall for the trap if you don't use your mind. So that's the problem with humans. It's okay to make mistakes. We come to this earth to make mistakes. And this is also one of the Buddha's teachings. We come to earth to make mistakes, but the problem is to keep repeating the mistake. It's okay if you make a mistake, if you and this might sound harsh for many people, but that's my style. That's how I am. I don't sugarcoat things. It's okay to make mistakes. You come to earth, you make mistakes, but learn from them. Learn from them. If the universe showed you that this path is wrong and you're not supposed to do it, why are you doing it again? Why are you choosing to do it again? Then you're the only one to blame. It's like, when you have this, like, for example, you see a fly and it's trying to get out from the window, and this happens to me a lot when there's a fly stuck indoors. And I open the window for it and I try to let it go out. I'm like, here, I opened the window, fly, little fly, get out. But the fly keeps hitting itself against that portion of the window that's closed. It keeps hitting again and again and again. So unfortunately, that's why the blame should go to humans. And many, many humans are not willing to hear this. They're not. They're not willing to hear this. See, these initiative knowledge, when you have even when you have a master-disciple relationship, and if you get to have a master that's going to teach you any type of knowledge, this is how they're going to talk to you. It's not going to be fluffy and soft and love. It's going to be like, why are you doing the same mistake? If something is happening in your life, you have to assume the idea. You have to understand that it is coming from your own doing, and you have to acknowledge that. And when the universe is going to test you again, so when that same situation presents itself again, what are you going to do? This happened to me personally many times. I messed up. Sometimes I had situations where I messed up. I did things that I was not supposed to do, and I paid the price for them. And then literally 1 year later, the universe gave me the exact same situation as a test. So at that point, do I do the same mistake and pay the price again, or do I not? Because the universe will teach you, but then it's going to test you. That's why sometimes cycles repeat. Cycles repeat is for the universe to see if you learned or not. So you're going to say, okay, I'm not going to do this again. This is a bad thing. I will not do it again. I learned my mistake. The universe is going to test you. Guys, everything I share on this channel, and it is so spooky sometimes, through my readings, through the videos where I share my knowledge, I'm tested on it on daily basis. When I post a reading for you guys and I say certain concepts, I kid you not, within the next day or 2 days, the universe tests me on what I preach to you guys. It's like, okay, Seth, you're preaching these things? Good. I'm giving to you these cases in real life. How are you going to act? Are you just preaching these things? Are you just blah, blah, blah about them? The universe will test you on what you're saying. The universe will test you to see if you're serious or not. If you take this as this path, this journey, if you take it seriously to transform, to become who you are, or are you just thinking it's a hobby? It's just something that you talk about. And unfortunately, we're in a world that has become in a society that likes to talk about things instead of applying them. We have many people who are experts in spirituality. They're experts in alchemy. They're experts in many fields. They talk about it all the time, and they will tell you a lot of things about it. And I'm one of them, but no one knows what happens behind closed doors. No one knows if they apply those things or not. It's the same as art. You're going to have art historians who know everything about art, but they've never drawn a single piece of art. They've never even painted even one canvas, but they will tell you anything you need to know about art. But that's the same. We live in a society where everyone is an expert about everything, but no one applies anything. I can tell you everything about spirituality, Oh, it's so funny. I hear it even nowadays in when I'm in a coffee shop or at the gym the other day. It's just you hear people talking about spirituality like if it's just, yeah, it's something that everyone is an expert. Everyone is enlightened. Everyone is going around with halos around their heads. So people can talk about it. They can tell you anything you need to know. But how come the world is still a mess? How come the world we live in is still a mess? Because no one applies the knowledge that they learn. People learn, but no one applies. That's unfortunately the society we live in. Everyone says yes, yes, love, 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 but they don't even show love to their partners. Everyone tells you, yeah, to be spiritual, you have to meditate, you have to do this, you have to do this. I did this, I went to this retreat, and I know, and I read this book, I read this book, I read this book. Yet, this same person is still addicted to smoking, or they still can't cut alcohol from their life. But they're the ones who give you lessons about spirituality. But then after they finish that lesson, they're like, hey, do you want to get a drink with me? And they just finished talking about spirituality. Like we live in a world that's just it's a society of talk, 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 talk. The world has become too noisy. It's too loud. The world is too loud. Especially with social media, unfortunately, because social media is supposed to be used for the opposite, to share things that will make humanity a better race. But it's used for the complete opposite, and everyone is loud. Everyone is just loud. And this we can notice when you're attracted to rocks or to crystals. Why everyone loves crystals? Because they're rocks, because they're still, because they don't move. When you visualize a sage or someone who's wise, you visualize them as still, as not moving. Someone who's, that's why everyone is attracted to meditation, because you don't do anything, because you're still. Same thing for rocks. Rocks are still, and they have been there for millions of years. They're way older than anyone, than any of us. That's why we're attracted to them. So we're attracted to that stillness. Yet we don't know how to get there. Yet all we do is talk, 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 and move all around and say things all over the place. Um, can you ever imagine like the Buddha being loud and like jumping up and down, or even Jesus? No, the people who are enlightened, the people who are wise, they're still, they're calm. They have this like thing about them that just makes them feel like they're part of everything. And that goes back to that stillness. So if you want to have that stillness, how come you're just all over the place? How come you're distracted all the time? How come you're just like talking about different things that don't make any sense? Stillness comes from, first of all, getting rid, as I have mentioned, the first stage of alchemy, getting rid of all of the things that don't serve you anymore. Working on yourself, okay? Meditation helps a lot. Eating healthy helps a lot. Eating clean, healthy and clean, because you might research eating healthy, and that's not eating healthy. If I have to make a video about what I eat, guys. You guys are going to be shocked if I show you the kind of things I eat. You will be shocked, and you're going to find it hard to understand. Which is on a higher, even crazier level. And eating clean is as in you eat just the things that come from nature. That's it. The things that are not processed, that are not modified. That's the only thing you intake in your body. And no oil, no salt, no sugar, none of that stuff. So basically, like how animals eat. Animals eat things that are direct, that come from nature, things that are raw, things that are not modified. And that's why pets nowadays start having lots of diseases. They are taking on what the human lifestyle, because you start giving your cat or your dog these processed foods, and then later on, when your cat or dog or your pet has a disease, you start wondering why, because you're not giving them like foods that are not processed, things that are not modified. Like a stray cat, they hunt, they hunt either a mouse, or they're gonna eat a fish, a raw fish, or whatever they catch, and they're gonna eat it. So that's how they're built. But when you start giving them processed foods, don't be surprised if they have illnesses later. Don't be surprised if they have diseases later. It's the same thing for humans. So diet is very important, and working on yourself, researching, reading this kind of knowledge, because reading it is one thing, but you have to start applying it as well. You read it, but then apply it. You learn something new today. How can you apply it the next day? And the universe is going to test you again. When you learn something, the universe is going to test you on it. And when you start even saying it to other people, the universe is going to test you even more. So this is how alchemy has been helping me. Sorry, guys, I'm just going to move on to read some of your comments, because just to see who's here. And hello, guys. Hello. Thank you for joining the chat. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Jennifer, Amos, Ladona, Silvia Lopez, hello. Strug, Giver, sorry if I'm not reading your names right. Thank you guys for joining the chat. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And yeah, also, if you have some questions, I can answer them later. I'm just gonna finish talking a little bit about alchemy and everything I'm addressing here, and then I can answer. If you have some questions, just leave them there, and I can answer them for you. Yeah, the next thing I want to talk about is energy, which it's another thing that I have learned through alchemy, which is the fact that when you work with energy and you start feeling it and you start sensing it, when you work on yourself, as I said earlier, and you start doing these practices and you eat healthy, you're going to start feeling energy. So it's very important to pay attention to the energies that are around you, but the energies you're also getting from other people, because energy can never be destroyed. It can only be transferred. And this, I'm sure many of you have heard this before. Energy can only be transferred. How does it transfer? I'm going to give you an example. You get a phone call from your best friend. This notion of best friend that humans are obsessed with. Best friend is the same notion as the one I mentioned earlier of like you have to stay in one place and have many things and buy a house and do a family and do this, and all constructs of society that were fed to you since a young age. And you think that's how life is supposed to be. Best friend is one of them. You're supposed to have a best friend. Yeah, sure. Those best friends are the ones who are gonna stab you in the back more than any other people. And even the good friends you have, don't call them best friends. Just don't put labels on things. You're gonna have this best friend calling you, and they're gonna be like, okay, I need to talk to you. I need to tell you this thing happened to me. I'm gonna talk to you for 1 hour. And they're basically venting. You're gonna have like a venting session. And they're just talking, and I can't believe in this. And then my ex called me, and then my partner did this to me, and then my mom did this to me. And I met my other friend, and can you believe I got this, I got that, I got this. And for 1 hour, they're just venting, and you're just there on the other side of the line. You're listening. Yes. And they're done for 1 hour or 1 hour and a half or 2 hours. And they completely emptied themselves onto you. And they said, all right, it was so good talking to you, my friend, my best friend. Thank you for hearing me. And they hang up the phone. And here you are, left with everything they told you for 1 or 2 hours. As if you're just like this huge bag. And they just basically emptied all of their energies onto you. And this is not even the concept of energy vampire. This is the opposite. This is them emptying everything onto you. And they hang up. Thank you. You're my best friend. I love you so much. Bye. So now you have this. Now you have to walk for the rest of your day with what they gave you. So there comes your partner. And it's game over. Your guys are, because the first, you're looking for the next person to just give that to. And it's, by the way, it's all negative. It's all negative stuff. There comes your partner. Could be your daughter, could be your son, it could be your father, it could be your colleague at work, it could be anyone, it could be a dog, it could be like a stray animal. Someone has to just be in your field of view because you, and then we wonder why everyone is arguing and fighting all the time. So you have to learn how to protect your energy even from these people that call themselves best friends. Sometimes you have to learn to say no. No, sorry, I don't have time. I can't hear this. No, no, sorry for this thing, I'm not gonna hear. No, no, I can't hang out with you. No, I can't go there because that place is toxic. You don't have to even explain yourself. But that place is toxic for you. No, I can't go there. You have to keep your energy clean all the time. You shouldn't allow people to just throw anything on you. This happens to me also, but in a digital format in my comment section. Like I have a YouTube channel, and it's not a big channel, but I still get a lot of comments from many of you, and you guys are wonderful. I have lots of amazing comments, and I'm flattered, I'm humbled every time. And sometimes I'm like, I don't even deserve these comments, seriously. But sometimes I get comments that are, I can't believe people write certain things like that. Not just hateful, like, you don't even know me. You don't even know who I am or where I come from or my background or why I'm doing this. And then the kind of comments I get is crazy. So for me, what do I do with this? Because someone just left that energy onto me because it's my comment section and I happen to read it. Maybe sometimes I don't read those comments, sometimes I miss them because I have a lot. But what if I catch that comment and it's someone putting that negative energy on me and I read it? And it's like, oh, it's either you're bad or this or this or this, or what happens with that? So there's two things. It's either I entertain it, which I usually never do. Not usually, I just never do it. I never entertain anything like that. So one thing is to entertain that. Now you're taking on that energy. You succeeded. If you take on that energy, you succeed into putting yourself into their level. They succeed. Sorry. If you take on that energy, they succeed. They pull you down to their level. Because the people who want to fight or argue, they're just looking for someone. It's a trap. It's a trap for you. They're looking for someone to pull to their level. That's why the people who want to fight, they're always looking to, who can I get to my level? Who's the person who's gonna fight me back? Who's the person who's gonna argue with me? They're looking for praise. They're hunting. And this has been, because I've been tested on this too, and it's been happening to me over the years. But I learned how to counter it, and I'm gonna share with you how to do it. So what I do to these comments, I don't entertain them, because if you entertain them, you match their lower frequencies, and you're gonna have a bad day because now you take on the energy. So what I do is I delete the comment, or I report it if it has, because sometimes they leave very insulting, vulgar things that I don't even want other people to read. So I report the comment, or I delete it, or I block. That's it. So now I dodged that energy. It was coming to me, I dodged it. Now the universe is gonna take care of it. So I didn't invite that energy into my life. I didn't invite it. I didn't accept it. And there's an amazing story with the Buddha. This happened to the Buddha himself. Can you imagine the Buddha being enlightened, an enlightened being that has an incredible energy that's sharing beautiful things around the world back in his times? So at one time he was there sitting and surrounded by many, many, many people listening to his wisdom, and just being around him. People used to say that it felt good. It felt like you just want to be staying near him all the time. But can you imagine, even with that, there was this one guy who came to him while he was giving his wisdom to the world. This one guy came out of nowhere in front of everyone and he's just started insulting him and saying hateful words to him and saying, "You're a bad person, you're a scam, you're tricking people, you're the worst person," blah, 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 things like this. Can you imagine? Even to an enlightened person. So if you have some people like this in your life, don't think that you're alone. This even happened to the Buddha himself. It's just if it makes you feel better. And the Buddha, with his wisdom, he was like, okay, he told him with a very, he didn't argue with him, he didn't fight with him, so he didn't accept his energy, but with a very calm, very, very calm posture, he didn't even move. And with a very calm voice, he didn't get mad, he didn't get angry, even though he was insulting him. He told him, I have a question for you. If someone, if you have a guest, if you have a guest in your home, would you treat them? And the person who was insulting him, all of a sudden his tone changed because the Buddha changed the subject. So his tone changed, and he was kind of confused, and he's like, he answered him. He said, if someone comes to my home, I will treat them. Yes, I will treat them. The Buddha says, so you will treat them, right? But what if the guest that you treat don't eat the food that you treat them? Like if you present food for them or you give them something and they don't take it, what would you do? And the angry man said, oh, well, that's then more food for me. Then I'm gonna have that food. I'm gonna have that. It's gonna be more things for me. And the Buddha, with a very beautiful smile, told him, well, in that same way, I'm not taking what you're trying to give me right now. And that angry man was so shocked, and he was like, he just didn't know what to do. And the situation dissolved. That's it. It ended there. The argument stopped. Everything stopped there. The moral of the story is that the moment you entertain an argument or a fight, the moment you entertain it, it's game over. You're taking everything to your life. You're inviting it. You're taking it. And when you take it, you have, unfortunately, to pour it onto someone else. And you don't want that someone else to be your partner or your husband or your wife or your kids or the people that you love. You don't want them to have that, unfortunately. So that's what happens in society. People accept other people's nastiness. They invite that in their life, but they start giving it to the people they love. And that's why we have divorces, and that's why we have people not having good relationships with their kids, and so on and so forth. This happened to me just recently. Again, I'm telling you, the universe tests all the time. And I was lining up. And I kid you not, some things that happen to me sometimes, I just feel like this has got to be a test because it's too crazy. There was a lineup, and I was ordering something, and there was a lineup, and there's clearly an angry man, and he was a man, and it was an angry man, clearly, who came, and right away, he when he showed up, he was just like, you can feel his tense and angry. You could just especially if you feel energy, you can tell that. So it was my turn to order whatever I was gonna order, and he just wanted to take my spot, just like that. And the line was long. It was there were many people, and then there were the people, the vendors who are selling the things, the vendors, and people around as well. So the person came, tried to take my spot. He was angry. He was looking for someone to match that energy, and it looked like he spotted me as the prey. Just to give you exactly what happened, it looked like he spotted me as the prey for his anger. I'm like, okay, here's that person, Seth. Well, he doesn't know my name, Seth. That's the person I'm gonna pour my anger on. I'll pick him. He's gonna be the one. So he came. He was just like around me, and then he tried to take my spot. And then when I was going to pay, he literally pushed me like this, like pushed me, and tried to take some napkins or whatever. So Like, you know, at that point, because his anger was already transferring to me. At that point, I had two choices. Two. It's either things will go down, right? Things will go down, and I tell him something. We start a fight, but everyone around is gonna get affected with that. Or I say nothing, I do nothing, and I look like I look like I lost. I look like I didn't protect myself, but I don't receive his energy. I don't invite it in my home, and I have an amazing day. I did the latter. I did the latter. Whereas before, prior to my awakening, I would have definitely started something. And that's what most humans would do. They would choose to fight, they would choose to invite that energy into them. And you're not special. You're gonna find people who will target you. You're not special. It happened to the Buddha. You're going to find people who are going to come to you and try to start something with you. They're going to try to argue with you. They're going to try to fight you for no reason, just because they're angry, but just because they had a bad day, and they try to give that onto you. So, your role as a wise person, as a smart person, not to entertain that, no matter how hard the situation is. You stay quiet and you let them keep that energy. Because you know what? At the end of the day, they're not harming anyone. It's just energetic. They're not punching someone. They're not stabbing someone. They're not, they're, because if it comes to that, that's a different story. But now it's all energetic. And it's okay, even if he kind of pushed me a little bit, it's a push. No problem. It's not a big deal. No one is harmed. No one is harmed. But if I started a fight, then I would be harmed. He would be harmed. Some of the people around could have been harmed as well. And that's what's the point for that? If that happened, he would have succeeded. He would have succeeded in drawing me into his level. So I hope this example can help you for your life, for your daily life. You're going to get situations like this, especially when you're walking outside, when you're driving. There's a lot of road rage as well with people. Try to not react. I'm not going to tell you react because this word irritates some people. I'm not going to tell you not to react, but don't invite that into your life. That energy, don't open the door for it and say, welcome, anger. It's the anger of someone you don't know. It's a stranger. It's the anger of someone that doesn't mean anything to you, and you're going to let that in your home. You're going to let that in your life. So just so just so you can transfer it to your loved one, no, don't do that. Don't do that. So it's this, what I'm sharing with you, is also part of transformation, because energy is very important. If you want to really reach that enlightenment or that ascension level, like how the Buddha reached it, you have to know how to work with energies. If you go to a place and you see that corner there has a bad energy, don't sit there. If you see that person there has a weird energy and I don't feel good, don't go to that place. Don't be there. And be respectful. Don't give people the bad eye or don't look at them in a weird way. Be respectful, be kind as a good human being, but don't entertain the energy. If you feel that a certain someone invites you and you feel like that thing is going to lead you somewhere that's not good, don't go there. It's very simple. It's very, very simple. And even if you go there, if you show up and you realize that the energy is very bad, leave. Do it respectfully. I'm sorry. I don't feel good. I really don't feel good. I have to leave. Thank you very much, guys, but I have to leave. Be kind, be respectful, leave. That's what enlightenment is all about. That's what transformation is all about. It's about being kind, being respectful, being considerate, but also protecting yourself at the same time. Also knowing who you are and knowing how to work with your energy and with the energies around you. But for something positive, then yes, share positivity, give positivity to other people. Some people, if they don't want your positivity, don't give it to them. Give it to the people that want. I only help people who ask me. I never help people who don't ask me. I don't go to random people in the street and say, hey, do you want to learn about transformation? Do you want to become spiritual? Let me tell you how to become spiritual. No. The people who are ready, they will ask. They will ask. The right people will ask. If someone asks, help them. Tell them what you know. If no one asks, mind your own business. Don't say a word. Let people live their lives. You're not here to change the world. I'm not here to change the world. The role of the alchemist is not to change the world. The role of the alchemist is to share what he or she is with the world. It's not to change the world. No matter what you do, this plane of existence was not designed for you to change it. That's one thing I realized recently. I want to share it with you guys. It's very important. And this I just realized because I was debating with many concepts and I was researching different concepts, but I think this is what it is. But again, you might disagree or not. This plane of existence, Earth, was not created or designed for anyone to change it. The concept of humans have changed the world, this person changed the world, that's again another programming that was created by humans themselves. Humans have created this program where they make you believe that you need to change the world. Creation, dimension of Earth, was designed to stay exactly how it is. You're going to ask me, but how? How does that make sense? This dimension was created for us to be reincarnated in it and learn lessons in it. Actually, the Buddhists and the Hindus, they already know this. They in their religions, they know this already. Buddhists and Hindus. And you might hear this sometimes. You might hear that life on Earth is a test. Not all of it. Some of it is a test, but you're born here on Earth, not to change Earth, is to learn things about creation, about existence. So you're here to learn. Remember that. You're here not to change people, not to change things around. You're here to learn. What do you learn? You learn to be a good human, as simple as it sounds. And many are going to say, no, I know what it's like to be a good human. Yes, you know it. Are you applying it in your daily life? Are you applying it? Do you know what it is like to be a good human? Congratulations, you know that. But are you applying it? Are you being a good human or not? And I'm pretty certain that most people are not there yet. Most people are not there yet. And it's okay, because we're here to learn. We're here to make mistakes, but we're not here to repeat the mistakes. Remember, like with the analogy I gave earlier about the fly. You're here to make mistakes, but you're not here to repeat mistakes. But what happens to most humans is they come here, they think their purpose is to change the world. They don't learn to be a good person or a good human. They just keep being stuck into thinking, I need to change the world. I need to change the world. I need to change the world. And they themselves are not even looking at themselves or how they are. And they keep reincarnating over and over and over by repeating the same mistakes over and over and over and repeating cycles hundreds of times. And maybe in one reincarnation, they're going to realize, oh, it was not about changing the world. It was about changing myself. It was about me changing myself first. But that's the goal of alchemy. That's what alchemy teaches us. Why does the alchemy tell you you need to transform yourself into gold? Alchemy doesn't say you need to transform other people into gold. Alchemy doesn't say, hey, your goal is to go to other people and tell them about the fact that they need to transform themselves into gold. No, alchemy teaches you how you transform yourself into gold. Yourself and nothing but yourself. Why? Because if you reach your golden state, that's it. Your mission is accomplished. You're going to be the example for everyone else. Then you don't need to tell others, because others are going to want to become like you. That's how it works. You focus on yourself. You transform yourself into gold. You find your own philosopher's stone. And then you're the inspiration for everyone. And then your light shines. Just like, the light from Jesus when he was enlightened, and his light was glowing and that draw people to him. That's the meaning of transforming lead into gold. Lead is you when you're born, and the programming you get to when you're usually in your 20s to late 20s. Usually, it depends. Some people get it earlier, some people get it later. That's you in your lead form. So your goal is to become gold. When you become gold, you shine like gold, like light. When you shine, people are drawn to you. You don't need to go around telling people things. People are going to be drawn to you, and they're going to learn from what you are doing. Learning happens by people trying to mimic the person, not by the person telling others what to do. That's why humans never learn when you tell them. You find parents around the world telling their kids what to do, and the kids never do that, and they do the exact opposite, because that's not how humans learn. If all the parents in the world, if you want your kids to be a certain way, behave that way. If you want your kids to mimic you and to do like you, don't tell them, do this, do that, go do this, go do that. Be what you want them to be, and they're going to be like that. I promise you, they're going to be like that. Just be you. But don't tell them, hey, you need to do this, hey, you need to do that. But again, that a lot of parents are going to disagree with me, because you're taught that parenting is not like that. Again, here we go again, another program of society, another program from humanity. Parents are taught that they have to tell their children what to do. You're not supposed to tell your children what to do. You're supposed to behave a certain way, act a certain way. The kids are very smart. They're watching their parents all the time. And you have to be around for your kids, because if you're not there around for your kids, they're going to learn everything from the streets or from the school or from somewhere else. So first of all, be around your kids, be there for them, and then they're going to look at you, they're going to learn, they're going to observe your behavior, and they're going to do it. And it's the same work for alchemy, same works for enlightened people. My job is not to go around telling people what to do. My job is not to change the world. My job is to reach my golden state, and from that, you will be inspired to also reach your golden state. And it works like a ripple effect, and the other person does it, and the other person does it, and the other person does it, and the other person does it. And that's how the whole world does it for themselves. And that's how the world changes. That's how the world changes. It's not by this individualistic, or maybe that's not even the right word. It's not by one person ordering the other people. This is how enlightenment works. Like how many gurus are doing it around the world. I am the one who's enlightened. Follow me. I'm going to tell you what to do. And if you do it this way, you're going to be enlightened. Imagine if someone climbs a mountain. They climb a mountain, right? And some people are taking notes of how he's climbing the mountain. They're like, okay, so step 1, wear the proper shoes. Step 2, wear the proper pants. Step 3, make sure you have this with you in your backpack. Step 4, and they're just writing all of that. And then they're noting, and then the person is climbing the mountain. And then at some point, halfway through, they start scratching their arm like this. They scratch their arm. Halfway through, you have to scratch your arm. You have to scratch your arm. That's religions. That's the religious books. Halfway through, scratch your arm. Okay, the person climbs the mountain. Those people who wrote the book is done. The book is done. It's sold around the world. Everyone reads it. To climb the mountain, halfway through, you have to scratch your arm. And now, like monkeys, the whole humanity, when they climb a mountain, halfway through, they have to scratch their arm. And they actually don't need to do that. There's no reason for that. That's how religions are. Because it's certain things that are not even meant to be there, that were written by some other humans, and people follow them stupidly. They're just like, follow them. Well, that person did it, so I'm going to do it. That person did it, so I'm just going to do it. Bang my head on the wall. I'm just going to do it. No. Alchemy teaches you to carve your own path. You're seeing me with my own path. It's your duty to create your own path that's specific and unique to you. And your own path will have its own criteria, its own concepts, its own ideas. It's gonna be different. It's gonna have its own thing, because you're gonna speak to other people that will resonate with the way you carved your own path. It's not gonna be like the Seth Alchemist path is the only path, and just because he scratched his arm or scratched his nose, that means I have to do it too. Or you're doing this ritual, but then after you invoke the fire element, you have to scratch your forehead. Otherwise, the spirit is not going to show up. Why? Why do I have to scratch my forehead? Because Seth Alchemist did it. Because we saw him did it. We saw him. He did it. So you have to do it too. No. That's unfortunately how the world is. No, there are core concepts. There are core things that this tradition of alchemy teaches, but then the rest is up to you. The rest is you carve it, you build it, you create it. It's your own thing. It's not a religion. It's not a religion where I tell you you're supposed to do this at this time, you're supposed to pray here around this time, you're supposed to go to this place to do this thing, you're supposed to go to church on Sunday specifically on this time. No, I'm not telling you any of these things. Or you're supposed to pray this many times per day, otherwise you're not connected to God. No. You connect in your own way. But there are certain things that are crucial that you need to understand about existence, about life, and then the rest is up to you. And the only way to find your own path is to go within, which in alchemy is called vitriol. Vitriol is a sulfuric acid in alchemy that decomposes the metal. So when the alchemist works with the metal, the prima materia, or the primal substance, when it works with that primal substance, in order to transform it, first it needs to be dissolved, as I have mentioned in the beginning of this video. But to dissolve it, this sulfuric acid has to be introduced. It has to be mixed with it. When it's mixed with the sulfuric acid, when it's mixed with the metal, it dissolves. Sometimes it's using fire. Sometimes it's like you take the metal and you put it under high heat and the metal dissolves. So this vitriol in alchemy is actually, it was a concept, it's a sulfuric acid, and it was a concept created by the famous, the renowned alchemist, one of my favorite alchemists, Basil Valentine. He's French from the 12th century. And this vitriol, it is sulfuric acid, but it's the initials for the phrase in Latin that reads, visita interiora terra rectificando invenis occultum lapidem. Visita interiora terra rectificando invenis occultum lapidem. These are the initials of the word vitriol. What does this mean? I said the phrase in Latin. That's how it's read in Latin. It means that go within you, inside the earth. Go within. This is translation to English, word by word. Go within you, inside the earth, and by rectifying, you will find the stone. Go within you, inside the earth, and by rectifying, you will find the stone. So the first step is to go within you. Here we're talking about, what did I mention earlier? Darkness. You go within you, there's only darkness. When you meditate, darkness. When you drop everything and you're stripped away from everything and you find yourself, just your soul, just you, it's you and darkness. You go within. Where? Inside the earth. Inside the earth, because we are on earth. Where on earth? The physical reality. That means the stone can be only attained in the physical reality. That means enlightenment can be only attained on earth, in the physical reality. And this might shock you because you're like, no, but I thought enlightenment happened in spirit. No, it happens on earth. The Buddha got enlightened on earth. Jesus got enlightened on earth. So you have to go deep within, inside earth. On earth, enlightenment happens. So you go in the darkness inside of earth, and the next phrase says, and by rectifying. And by rectifying, that means you have to work on yourself. Here is the transformation process. Here is where the alchemical process starts. And actually, the initial stage I want to mention, it's represented by the major arcana, the death card, number 13. So the first time when you just drop everything, strip everything, you die. That's the death card in tarot. That's the major arcana, death. You die, the old you dies. Sometimes even your name doesn't resonate with you anymore, and you have to come up with a new name because the name that whoever gave you doesn't feel right to you. So you die so you can transform again. So you go within inside earth, and by rectifying, by doing the work, the alchemical work, working on yourself over and over and over, you will find the stone. So the stone, you can only find it deep within you. That's the meaning of vitriol. Any alchemists know vitriol, and it's a again, it's a sacred phrase. It has the language of the birds embedded within it because it means one thing, but it means another thing as well. It's the code for what I just explained. So you can only find that if you go within you and you work on yourself. On earth, it's not going to happen in the spirit realm. So many of you, if you think, oh, when I die and I ascend and over there I'm going to become a different. No, 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 no. If you're here and you think you're still haven't attained that, that means it's got to be done here. It's not going to be done anywhere else. Why? The one who created this, they know. Not me. I don't know. They know why. And again, as I said earlier, this dimension was created for you to learn. You know, Adam and Eve, when they were casted away from the heavens, that was their punishment. But what was the punishment? It's to come to earth. So if coming to earth is a punishment in itself, why do you think your life is hard and it's full of suffering? The Buddha said, life is about overcoming suffering. The Buddha said the concept of life, why every human comes to earth, is to overcome the suffering. It's not to be happy. And this might shock a lot of you. And if it shocks you, good, you need to hear it. You don't come to earth to be happy. You don't come to earth because life is supposed to be joyful. That's, again, a concept created by humans who were trying to sell you the dream, the American dream, the European dream, the human dream, that you're supposed to make money and be happy. No, life is about overcoming suffering. You're born on earth, that means you need to learn how to overcome suffering. Adam and Eve were casted here as a punishment. That means the dimension of earth is tough. That means the dimension of earth is hard. That's why there's so much messed up things happening and nothing is done about them. There's a lot of wars that have happened in the past. Millions have been killed and tortured and stripped from their homes and families. Many people are raped around the world. There's sex trafficking, pedophilia, people doing anything they want, and nothing is done about it. Why? Because it's the dimension of suffering. You're shocked? Be shocked. It's the dimension of suffering. The Buddha said it 2,600 years ago. He said, you come here to overcome suffering. How come he said it 2,600 years ago and people still wonder about it? The first thing you do when you come out of your mother's womb, you cry. You don't laugh. You don't smile. You cry. The first thing that you do when you come out of the womb, you cry. Suffering. If you laughed when you come out of the womb, yes, maybe I would say it's about happiness. It's about to be happy. No, you don't come here to be happy and joyful. You don't like it. You don't like what I'm saying. I don't care. Go to some fluffy new age stuff. They're gonna tell you the complete opposite of what I'm telling you. Go there and listen to them. So life is about overcoming suffering. That's why there are wars right now, as I'm speak, wars happening where kids are killed every single day, being bombarded every single day. There are probably people trafficked every single day. There are people raped every single day. And the universe is allowing it to happen. The universe is allowing it to happen. It's the dimension of suffering. It's punishment. And your goal as the master, as the alchemist, as the mage, as the witch, as the aware, is to overcome that suffering. How do you overcome it? That's your journey. That's your journey to go from lead into gold. And it's not to change the world. This dimension was not meant to change. Sorry, you are not born to change this dimension. You are not, because the one who created it, it's designed like this. And I'm sorry, I hate to break it down to you, but again, that's why I really hesitate to share these concepts sometimes with you guys, because they're so they sound negative, but they're not. It's just a reality, and they're also hard to digest. They're very hard to digest for the people who are not ready to hear them. And I struggle to share this. Like, I want to share it, but I hesitate so much. And you knowing this doesn't mean that you have to hate it here. You knowing that this dimension is about overcoming the suffering, it doesn't mean that you have to be like, oh, I hate it, I want to die. That's it. This dimension is the worst. I hate it. I hate. No, then you're just, all the work you've been doing, you're kind of, it's like pouring water in the sand. Don't do that. You're here to learn to overcome the suffering. As the examples I gave you earlier, don't entertain fights. Don't entertain arguments. Don't entertain stupidity, the wars, the bad things. Stay away from them. Navigate this dimension. Learn how to be happy in this dimension that has suffering. I hope, because that's probably the most complicated thing I said in all of this live. Learn how to be happy in this dimension of suffering. Maybe happy is not the right word. Learn how to be peaceful, content. Learn how to be peaceful in the dimension of suffering. And this dimension has also the curse of death. You die. Because in other dimensions, you don't die. There are many dimensions that out there where your soul doesn't die. This dimension, you come here in physical, you die. That your body is just a vehicle, you use it, you take care of it. It helps you go to your philosopher's stone. It helps you transform to your golden state. But then it has to remain here. This physical body has to remain in this dimension. It's just a vehicle. That's why many times when you look at yourself in the mirror, and and I have talked about this before, many times you look in the mirror and you're like, who is this? You don't recognize yourself. You're like, well, I don't think this is me. Why am I in this skin? It's because it's just a vehicle. It's not really you. Me, Self Alchemist, this thing is not really me. It's just my vehicle. Yes, it reflects my soul to a certain extent, but it's not me. Same goes for you. Don't think that your body is like who you truly are. Your body is the vehicle that houses what you are. But then you have to take care of it. You have to treat it with respect. You have to love it. You have to nourish it properly, because it's a vehicle and you want it to last you for a long time. You have to take care of it. So just remember that these elements of transformation are very important. And don't entertain negativity. Don't entertain fights and arguments and toxic behavior. Like, transformation is hard. It's very hard. Sometimes it takes years. Sometimes it takes years, and sometimes it takes many reincarnations. And for you, the watchers, I hope it's not going to take many reincarnations. I hope it's just going to take a few years, because it's probably the hardest thing anyone can go through, because it's like you have to die and be reborn within the same lifetime, and that is so painful. It's so painful. It's like you have everything that you know about who you are, you have to throw it out. I've met I'm just going to say this one last thing, and I'm going to see your questions. um, um, I've met some people recently. I just want to share with you these experiences, just to give you a point of reference, because sometimes words can describe these things. Examples can explain better. I met some people that I recently that I haven't met in 20 years, 17 to 20 years, and I met them. and they were my friends back then. We used to hang out. We used to be very close, and we somewhat reconnected. Now I'm in my 40s, and we somewhat reconnected, and we we met. We met. Which I was like, why not? I was hesitant at first, but then we met. These people, it blew my mind. It blew my mind how they did not, even the way they speak didn't change. Not, I'm not, I don't care about the clothes or whatever. The ideas, the way they speak, the subjects they speak about, nothing changed. Nothing. It's like I'm talking to the same person just yesterday, but it's from 20 years ago. I could not believe it. I couldn't believe how does one person not change, not even a bit, even in the ideas, even in the thoughts, even in the way to behave, even how is that possible? And that made me grateful for my path and for alchemy and for my journey of transformation, because not only I changed, but the old me is dead. It's completely dead. I don't even recognize it anymore. That person with his name, with his thoughts, with his ideas, because everything I used to do was like a normal person, like any normal person. I used to do everything like every other normal person on earth. And I killed that person. I killed it. I killed it, so the new me, that thing that was within me, was reborn. And then the universe is gonna help you. It's gonna send you tools. It's gonna send you people. It's gonna send you environments that will help you through that transformation. It will send you that. For me, one of the crucial people that was sent, that helped me through that transformation, is Ina Witch. And I'm grateful. Not just I'm grateful for her. Like my I can't begin to even like fathom or to come up with the words that will describe how grateful I am for that. And the universe will send you your own people, your own masters, your own situations, if you declare that you want to transform. But get ready, because it's tough. Because the old you is not going to be there anymore. You, whoever your name is in this chat room, that name is not going to be there anymore. People are going to call you that name and you won't even recognize it. They might call you, hey, you, and your head might not turn. You might not turn your head. That's how crazy transformation is, because you become someone completely different, completely different. So get ready for it. Transformation is tough, but it's necessary and you won't regret it. If you want to find your golden state, if you want to ascend, and if you want to rejoin the above, as above, so below. So we're in the below. If you want to rejoin the above, you know what needs to be done. Otherwise, I hate to break it down for you, but you're gonna come back to over and over until you realize what is it that you're doing here, and your true your thing, that core within you that makes you who you are. Until you find it through the vitriol that I explained earlier, until you find that, you're stuck in this dimension. You're stuck in it. That's my knowledge for now. There are other things that I will share other times. There are other things that I don't know myself, because the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. So what I'm telling you now might change, because I'm always learning. It doesn't mean that it's going to stay the same. Some things might stay the same, some things might change. So we're always evolving, we're always learning, and we're always transforming. We're always reaching to our golden state. And even when you reach the golden state, your mission is not done. The Buddha was enlightened, and then his work starts. When he was enlightened in his 7th year of doing the work, then he started his journey of teaching people what he learned. Jesus, when he became enlightened, that after his enlightenment, then he started teaching people. So first, you think enlightenment is the destination. It's not. Enlightenment is just halfway through. Enlightenment, you're just like, oh, now the work starts, because your goal is to share what's given to you. Your goal is to share what's given to you. Like this was given to me, I'm giving it to you guys. That's why I did this live out of nowhere. And then it's given to you, and then you're going to have to give it to someone else. The same thing even comes. You go to a theater show or to a comedy show. Like if you see someone performing, some singer singing an amazing song, they gave you something. What do? Again, it's the energy thing I talked about earlier. That's energy. You received beautiful energy from them. What do? You clap. That's energy. Sometimes people scream. Sometimes people give money. Sometimes the energy is always going around. But it can never be stored. Energy is not supposed to be stored in somewhere. That's why singers, they have to sing. Singers cannot be stuck with their voice. And you'll find that the singers who are meant to be singers and don't sing, they're going to have throat problems. They might even have thyroid problems. Because what you're given, you have to let go of it. You have to give it away. It's all exchange. And that's the goal of every human. You're given the gift of crafting some beautiful sculptures, or you make beautiful tables or chairs. You have to always make them. And when you make them, that energy that you gave, people are going to give it back to you. It's either they're going to compliment you or they're going to buy it from you through money. Energy always have to circulate, always. But most people who are depressed, most people who are stressed out, are the people who are stuck in their home, eating gluttonous food, unhealthy food, and watching, Netflix all the time. Because they're not doing anything with their gifts. They're not giving it out. And they're just, actually, they're not even knowing what their gift is, let alone being aware of it and then starting to give it. So energy have to always, I take, I give. I take, I give. And as I mentioned earlier, it works both ways. It works positively and negatively. The same thing. If someone traps you into their negative energy, then you have to give it as well. You take it, you have to give it. Someone gives you negative energy, someone is going to take it. So make sure to not take negative energy from someone, because you're going to have to give it to someone else. Unless there are ways to work around it. If you work out and do some intense activity, like you go and run very fast, you do like sprinting, or lift heavy weights at the gym, or go out to the beach and just scream like a crazy person, then you can let that out as well, because there are ways to let that out. Or if you practice martial arts and you're always like the energy is always intense, you're always letting out that negative energy, because you're taking it has to go out one way or another. So if you don't do some of the ladders I mentioned, someone is going to take it. Someone. And it could be the dearest person to you. And that's why there's fights always in relationships. Always. Because the negative energy you took from a random stranger, your partner takes it. The poor thing takes it. And they do that to you too. They do that to you too. You do it to each other. So energy, positive, negative, it's always circulating. This was given to me. I'm giving it to you. And you can, again, do with it whatever you want. All right. This is what I have. I'm going to now read your questions and your comments and see if there's anything there that all of you can benefit from. Let's see here. Let's see. Sorry, there's a lot of comments here. I'm just... hello. Oh, hi, Ina Rich. Hello. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Yes. Tarot readings, someone said, Nocturne said, thank you for all tarot readings. Yes, tarot readings. And a lot of people ask me this question as well. Please remember that those are collective readings. They not only they help me channel the energy of spirit, but they help me share some of what I know, this knowledge with you as well. But they're collective readings. So if something doesn't resonate, take it with a grain of salt. Don't take it too hard, because I have a lot of people in the comment section who come and ask me, but how come this is this, and I tell them, no, it's a collective reading. It's a collective reading. If it doesn't resonate with you, it's not yours. If I say that your ancestors or guardian spirits or guardian demons are telling you something and it doesn't resonate, it's okay. It's a collective reading. But the goal of these collective readings is to channel spirit, is to share with you what I know, and it's to also just have this energy thing going on. Because again, tarot, like some of you will get this, some of you will get this. Trust me, it's not about divine in the future. Divine in the future is fun, but it's not about it's all about spirit. It's about having that connection with spirit. It's about just sitting down and just feeling that there's something out there that is the equilibrium of this physical reality. Um, Unfortunately, we are the physical life is so tough. It's so toxic that it has become everyone wants to escape. There's this escapism for everything. Everyone wants to live. Everyone is stuck with their phones, with their screens. Everyone wants to watch TV shows. Everyone is escaping reality. Everyone is trying to escape reality as much as possible. As much as possible. No one wants to see what reality has anymore, because reality has become very tough and very hard to cope with in general. So hopefully these tarot readings, even though they're in digital format, they can help ground us a little bit in the physical reality and just connect to that root, to who we are, to Earth, to kind of, sometimes they're very out there, and I talk about other dimensions and spirit realm, and sometimes I talk about the physical reality and how you have to be grounded and how you have to connect to the elements of nature. So that's the goal of these readings, and I will keep doing them. But they're not really to. It's not to tell you what your future is or stuff like that. That's not the real purpose of it. Um, I can say that too, but it's just some of you will get what I just mentioned. But yeah, like, it's my pleasure. I'm glad you enjoyed the readings. Um, Midnight Sun saying to suffer is to force you to grow into something better, stronger, wiser. Exactly. And it could be the purpose of the creation, why reality is like this. Is exactly like what you mentioned, is to grow into something better, stronger, wiser. It's your golden state, it's your philosopher's stone. Maybe that's why the reality is designed how it is. And instead of us questioning all the time why it's hot, why it's unfair, why it's unfair, why it's unfair, why it's tough, why it's unfair, maybe instead of putting energy into questioning that, we have to put the energy on working on ourselves. The Buddha also said, Buddha's teachings are amazing, at least for me. I find them incredible. The Buddha also said 2,600 years ago, one of his teachings is never expect life to be unfair, to be fair. Never expect life to be fair. Life is unfair. Life is always unfair. And he said that if you get fairness out of life, you're lucky. If you get fairness out of life, then you're the lucky one. That alone tells you how this reality has been designed since the beginning. Because even you go to the wild and you see some animals eating others. How is that unfair? How is that fair? So it reflects even in nature. So we have to wrap our head around this concept that Earth is not somewhere to it's not somewhere to expect fairness from. It's not designed that way. It's not. I wish it was, or maybe it has. I'm not gonna say that, because maybe it has a reason that we don't understand, but it was designed that way. Hello, hey, hello everyone who joined. Thank you very much. Let's see if there's some question. Yes, let's see. Okay. I think earlier, let me see. Someone asked, the origin asked, what's your philosophy and what is its pinnacle or end goal? There's no philosophy here. My philosophy, I don't have a philosophy. I don't have a dogma. I don't have the end goal is to, I'm creating my path. I'm serving the path of alchemy, and I'm creating my path at the same time. By creating my path, I'm serving the path. That's it. Because philosophy, I can tell you all you want to hear about creation and God and life, and who knows, maybe I don't know. I can tell you, I can talk for 2 hours like how I've been, and maybe it's not it. Maybe it's wrong, or maybe it's not true for you, or maybe it doesn't resonate with you. So I don't have a philosophy. I'm just carving my path. I'm gonna see where it's gonna lead me. Where it leads me, it leads me. It's the unknown. I try not to have any expectations with it, because what you expect is only what you're gonna get. If you go into a certain path and you expect, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get this, it's gonna end up in two possibilities. It's either you're gonna find what you expected, or what you expected is not gonna be there. So it's better to not have any expectations whatsoever, because then it becomes mysterious, it becomes fun, it becomes interesting. You're on your path. So your question is, what's your end goal? Honestly, um, my answer is that I don't have an end goal. There's no end goal, because even life after being a human, there's something else. There's another version of that somewhere else, and it could be life as in this other dimension, whatever they call themselves. So there's no end goal here. But what I will say is that uh, something I want from this, and again, I say I want because I'm human and I'm still using the human mind here. Something I want from this, and maybe it's not good, maybe it's not going to happen, but it is to understand everything about creation and existence. For me, if I get that, the rest doesn't matter. It's just creation, existence. If I get to understand it, what it is, what is creation, what is existence, that's the core. For me, that's the core. If I get that, then I'm good. But but again, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter, because we're just here to live our lives, to walk the path, and to see what the path has for us. To be a good human being, while on earth, being a good human being is crucial. It's crucial. Take care of your soul, take care of your body, be a good person, be respectful, be kind, respect yourself, love yourself, and just mind your own business too. Mind your own business. Stop minding other people's business. Mind your own business. Do you, as people say, and yeah, that's it. There's really no philosophy behind it, and even the other philosophies that are out there, I respect them, but I don't like labels. I don't like to label myself as anything except for being self alchemist. uh, that's a label, but for now it's self alchemist. We'll see what it's gonna become a few years from now. Yes. Yanuz asked a question. Since we accept ourselves, then should we accept others the same way? Yes, of course. Of course, we should accept others in the way they are, but you don't have to force anything onto your life. If you accept others, but as long as it's not interfering with your life. If something is interfering with your life, then you have to say no to it. You have to change it, not in a harmful way, not with fighting, not with arguing, by being away from that person here. Because the question is, should we accept others? For example, I'm going to give you an example. Me being the way I am, or wanting to become the way I am, wanting to explore my core, who I really am, was not gonna work if I was around the people that I was around before. It was not gonna work. Simply put, it was gonna be a failure. So I still accepted those people the way they are. They're the way they are. I can't change them, but I separated from them. I went my separate way. That's how you do it. So yes, you accept people the way they are, you respect them, but you go your separate way. You do your own thing. You can't be around these people anymore. You can't, because they're going to intervene, they're going to interfere every time. But what humans resolve to in this case scenario is usually fighting and arguing, but that's never the solution. The solution is you go away, your separate way. You some people call it shift, quantum shifting, or whatever, these new age terms that they, every year there's a new age term that's created every year. For so someone can sell another book, or for someone can have more people to buy things from them. Every year there's something different, and it's just confusing people even more and more and more. But yeah, it's like what some of you like to label it, quantum shifting, paradigm shifting dimensions of the I don't know, the dimensional dimensions of the higher dimensions of the multi-dimensional shifting dimensions, right? I'm talking new age right now. No, you just choose a different path, a different route. Choose a different path and you start walking it. That's how you respect others. That's how you respect you, and you're still in peace. You're in peace with them, they're in peace with you, and that's how you deal with it. It's it's just as simple as that. Yeah. Let's see, what else do we have here? Let's see. Okay. Someone asked here, Doc Lister is asking, is it hard to break bad habits? It's hard to break bad habits, but it's not impossible. Oh, it's it's a comment. Sorry, it's a comment. Yeah, yes, it's like it's hard. It's hard to break them, but it's not impossible. But it's hard. Bad habits are like, but it all starts with awareness. It's all start with awareness. The moment you're aware that that thing is bad for you, that's it. It's bad for you. You respect your body. You respect your soul. That means you're not going to do it. If you do it, it means you don't respect your body and you don't respect your soul. Simple, very simple. Alchemy is about dissolution. Alchemy is about undoing the stuff I mentioned earlier in this video. It's about undoing, dissolution, making things simpler, reducing things to their initial point. It's the same for everything. The more you complicate things, the more you know it's not true. The more you see books that have thousands of pages, the more you know that there's nothing there. Simple things are very straight to the point, and they're very short and they're very precise. Alchemy is about undoing. Here the same. That thing is bad for me. It's bad for my body, bad for my soul. I'm not going to do it. Done. That's it. It's simple. It's simple. We're not going to go into the details of what I am and this, my parents and my ancestors and and I had addictions and my ex got me into this and my coworkers used to introduce me into this drug and drinking habits and drinking and my family, and I grew up and my parents used to drink and I drunk and drink this. No, simple. It's bad for you. Don't do it. You don't do it. That's called being strong and having a strong mind. Otherwise, your mind, maybe it's not strong. And maybe you need to work on making it stronger. That's it. It's bad for you. You don't do it. That's it. And again, I'm telling you this, I'm going to be tested about it, because I'm telling you, everything I preach, everything I say, I'm tested on it literally within the next few days. I'm telling you this, I'm going to be tested on it too for my life. So it's not something I'm just telling you to make myself feel better or anything like that. But it's very simple. Everything is simple in life. The Emerald Tablet is one page. It's where alchemy was created from, Hermeticism, the Hermetic tradition, all of this knowledge, alchemy, which gave birth to tarot and everything. Everything started with one page. One page. 14 sentences, 13 or 14 sentences. That's it. They have the wisdom of the universe in one page, not a book of 1,000 pages. So remember, simplicity, simplicity. Um, so let's see if there's any other question. If not, here, Ina Witch is asking, what's your favorite tool? Favorite tool of divination? Favorite tool of divination? It's tarot. Definitely tarot, tarot, tarot. Tarot all day, tarot all night. I love tarot. I love tarot because it embodies alchemy, the 21 major arcanas. I always say the 21 major arcana is actually 22 because the Fool for me is the start of the transformation stages. So the 22 major arcanas, 21 plus the Fool, that's 22. They embody alchemy, they embody the Hermetic tradition. So that's why I feel like it's the best tool for who I am. It's tarot. I use it that way. I always refer to the major arcanas because each major arcana has a lot of wisdom embedded in it. Like you can literally write a book about each major arcana. You can write a book. That's how much wisdom there is, and in the major arcanas. And so I love tarot quite a lot, and it has also sigils and sacred geometry, which is also the other thing that I'm fond of. It actually was sacred geometry helped me transform that initial transformation. The first thing that helped me realize that there's something that I need to change was sacred geometry. Sacred geometry, I'm so fond of it. I study it all the time, even though I don't share it a lot, but I study it all the time. I understand it very well. I'm fascinated by it, which is also connected to sigils. I use sigils quite a lot, and all of my sigils are based on sacred geometry. And here again, I'm talking about sacred geometry. We have the hexagram here. I have it on my Seal of Solomon ring here as well. And it's just something I like to surround myself with, geometry. Even the word, if you notice the word God, the G of God, that can be interpreted as geometry as well, because the universe is geometric, because the beauty of creation is geometric. Everything follows the golden ratio. The golden ratio is geometric. The most beautiful things you can witness on in the planet, they follow geometry. So geometry is, if you will, geometry is the depiction of spirit. When you see geometry, that's the depiction of creation in the physical reality. And geometry fascinates me. Like if you see, for example, the bees, why do they make hexagons as their homes, right? And the bees are very connected to spirit. They're one of the most spiritual species on earth are bees. They produce a lot of spirit. What is that spirit that they produce? It's honey. That's why honey is very good for you if you want to connect to spirit. So bees are all very spiritual beings, but they're also alchemical bees because they transform one substance and they make it into another, the pollen into honey. So it's witnessing the magic of transmutation with something physical. Bees are incredible, and we don't give them as much credit. And there's less of them on Earth because the Earth and humans are becoming less spiritual. You know why there's less bees nowadays on Earth? There's less and less of them. They reflect the spirit of Earth because humans are becoming less spiritual. Therefore, the bees are becoming less and less. And the bees, they're so spiritual that not only they transform something into something beautiful like honey, but they build their homes geometrically. Their homes are hexagons. They build their homes because, I mean, hey, it could have been like, I don't know, it could have been any other form, but they chose the most perfect form in the universe, which is the hexagon. And inside the hexagon is a hexagram. When you take the hexagon and you connect the lines, you get a hexagram. So they build their homes based on the most beautiful shape in the universe, which is a hexagon or hexagram. So bees are some of the most beautiful spiritual creatures that exist out there, and we need to appreciate them more. And have honey. Honey will help you become more spiritual, just like that, raw, not mixing it with other things. Just if you have a spoon of honey, it's gonna open up your spirit. So yes, so tarot, sacred, sigil, sacred geometry. To answer your question, Ina, Ina asked, which asked how alchemy came into your life. This I kind of addressed it a little bit in the beginning of the video. It really alchemy chooses you. You don't choose alchemy. Alchemy just happened in my life. It kind of fused in my life when I was at the point where the new age stuff was not working anymore. And I realized that it's not helping. I'm miserable. I'm depressed. I've read every book about new age spirituality. Every book you can imagine, I've read it. You go to the bookstore in the spiritual stores, all those books there, I've read them, I've bought them. Everything. You've done everything. You went to meditations, you went to yoga lessons, you went to retreats, you went to this, you went to that, and you find that nothing is helping. You went to Reiki healings, nothing. And I asked the universe, I need to take this to the next level because I know it's not who I am. And the moment I did that, slowly alchemy content started appearing in my life. Through also sacred geometry helped me transition as well, because the more I researched sacred geometry, alchemy started appearing as well, and hermeticism, also the hermetic principles. And don't confuse the hermetic principles with hermeticism. The hermetic principles are based on hermeticism. The hermetic tradition, which is the Hermetica, which is a set of texts written by Hermes Trismegistus, they're not the seven hermetic principles. The seven hermetic principles were written by someone unknown. They're called three initiates. They've written this book, but they based the seven hermetic principles on the hermetic tradition. So when you hear hermetic principles, yes, they're amazing. They help you understand the hermeticism, but they're based on the hermetic tradition. They're not the hermetic tradition, because a lot of people confuse them. They think that they are the same, but if you read hermetic texts, they're actually quite complex, and they're sometimes confusing, just like alchemy. And it's so the concepts there are mentioned for mentalism, for as above so below, correspondence. But the hermetic, the Kabbalion, the book the Kabbalion that addresses the seven hermetic principles, it's like a group of people gathered, and they kind of like based the knowledge on the hermetic tradition, and they kind of like did a summary. It's like a summary, but not really. So the hermetic tradition helped. And when I started reading the Kabbalion before, because the Kabbalion appears with New Age. When you start the New Age readings after your spiritual awakening, the Kabbalion is going to show up right away. And it talks about hermetic principles. So it introduces the concept of hermeticism. And hermeticists, if you're a hermeticist, you're an alchemist, because hermeticism and alchemy, it's these concepts are they go hand in hand. They speak to each other. Yeah, there's but alchemy just kind of fused with my life as I decided to find out who I really am. And that's how it works for almost everyone, because a lot of people, they hear about alchemy and it doesn't resonate with them. They're like, no, this is not for me. And it's okay. There are other tools. There are other paths, as I mentioned. The goal is not to say this is the ultimate thing for you. So yeah, but that's how it appeared. Yes. Paulo Big Abreu said, Seth, do you have any complicated interaction with any demon or angel? Oh, I have a lot. Yes. Demon or angel? Well, first of all, when I see spirits, these are just labels, demon and angels, but I like to label them as demons or daimons, which is ancient Greek for spirit. And I want to break this concept that demons are bad, that Christianity have spread around the world for hundreds of years. And myself and Ina, which are one of the first to kind of destroy this concept that demon is a bad thing. But it's still, a lot of people are still not getting it because Christianity has been engraved in the souls of people for hundreds of years. So still a lot of people think demons are something bad. The Muslims get it because in Islam it's the jinn, and the Muslims know that some jinns are good and some are bad, just like humans. They can be either good or bad. So the Muslims, they do get it. But anyone who comes from a Christian background, no, they think demons are bad, 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 bad. Same for in the East. If you the Hindus, the Buddhists, they get it. They know that a lot of entities and deities are in demonic form. They're demons, but it doesn't mean that they're bad. You know, so only Christians have a problem with demons. Only the people with the Christian background. Why? I don't know. So that's that. So for me, they're all the same entities. They're all daimons. This split between demons and angels came with monotheistic religions. They're the ones who created this separation. But for me, they're just spirits. They're daimons, they're demons. And the interactions I have with them, they can come either through my meditation, either through my dreams, or sometimes when I'm just sitting and minding my own business and they just appear out of nowhere. Complicated relations. Sometimes some of them come to kind of annoy me or harm me, but I do banish them. I cast them away. I have ways to do that through my magical practices. I have ways to do that, and I cannot share that stuff with you because that's kind of advanced and everything has its own time. But some of them, I, like even yesterday, because I'm hesitant to share this or not. Even yesterday, I had an interaction just yesterday, literally in the middle of the night, and it was 3 a.m. I woke up and I saw the phone clock, and it was 3 a.m. And again, between 3 a.m. to 4 a.m., the witching hour, that's when the spirits are most active. So I had an interaction just yesterday, and you feel I'm the kind who feels it all over my body. So I draw a lot of them to my energy, but sometimes they're just curious. They come to just see what's going on. Sometimes they try to harm me, and for those ones, I banish them. And the ones who try to harm me, they're actually scary. It's scary stuff. But I do have guardian demons who I invoke sometimes to for serious matters, for protection, for something serious. And they're always they're not they're far away. They live in very far dimensions or the depths of the underworld. They're not around, and to invoke them, it requires a lot of energy because they're so powerful. They're like, their power is just so crazy. So for me to invoke them, it requires a lot of energy, and I rarely invoke them, rarely. But I met them before, and even the encounters with them were rare. They were not a lot. But I have those, and I have others who are kind of around me, but those are what people label as, either you can call them higher selves, or because again, for me, it's higher selves, it's not higher self, or spirit. Some people say spirit guides, but these guardian spirits, I have categories, and each play a different role. And again, there's the scary ones, there's the bad ones, and they're super scary, and there's the good ones who will protect you, will guide you through synchronicities in your daily life, through messages, through dreams, and through sometimes teaching you the hard way. Like if you're stubborn and you're like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, and sometimes they're going to be like, do it, but then they're going to put something negative there to see that that path was not good for you. So they're going to teach you the hard way, because sometimes humans only learn the hard way, and then you realize, oh, I should have gone there, and then your spirit says, I told you that before, That's what I told you from the beginning. Why didn't you do it? Oh no, I had to learn the hard way. I had to see that there's bad things here. So yeah, but I do have many complicated interactions with demons. Again, angels. For me, it's spirits. Demon angels is a religious concept, and for me, anything religious, the moment I hear religion, my mind stops working. It doesn't make sense. Satan, angels, demons, bad angels. Satan is this. The moment I hear that, my mind starts. It stops me. It's like something tries to pull me down into the lower vibrations, and I can't do it. I just can't. I can't. So especially when I hear the word angels, it's just kind of like, so okay, there's clearly an agenda here, because you have to start digging into the story of Lucifer, what really happened with the story of the gods. Read the book of Enoch with the story of the Watchers. There's a lot, and I've talked about this in many of my content in this channel, and I share it here on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram. There's many things that are intertwined with each other. So to just say, oh, angels are good, demons are bad, it's an understatement, and it's also not wise. It's not wise at all. It's just if someone says that, I know that they're still have religious programming, that they're still tied to Christianity. And again, you can't sugarcoat Christianity with spirituality. It doesn't work that way. Like occult knowledge, when you're in it, that's it. Religion doesn't make sense anymore. Religion is just something you can use to help you, and that's it. It doesn't mean it's the truth, really, because this is not a religion. And I keep saying this to many of the religious people who send me some really weird comments on this channel. They say that I'm this, I'm that, and oh, this is satanic. And in my mind, I'm like, what is even satanic? What do you mean by satanic? Because I'm not religious, so what do you mean by satanic? That doesn't mean anything to me. Oh, you're referring to some other religion? Okay, what does that have to do with me? This is satanic. Okay, go to the satanic people and tell them what they're doing is satanic, because to me the word satanic doesn't mean anything. The word angels and demons doesn't mean anything. It does. It's an empty thing for me, because people. This is not a religious channel. It's not religious. Yet a lot of religious people come here, and I still don't understand why. I'm still trying to understand why religious people come to this channel, because this is not religious content. So it's very interesting, very interesting. But it's funny. I find it funny. Sylvia Lopez said, this brings to mind heaven and hell. Does this mean that these dimensions are in our life? You can make your life hell or heaven. But again, as I mentioned earlier, Earth is the dimension of suffering. Earth is not fair. It was never created to be a fair dimension. From the beginning, it was not. Just see how nature is, how the animals are towards each other. This is not the dimension of fairness. But yes, the goal through alchemy or other paths, if you choose to, the goal is to make it your heaven, even though the suffering, even though the unfairness. The goal is to work on yourself to become so centered and peaceful and calm and content and grateful and still. And when you become like that, then it becomes heaven. Then it becomes heaven. So the more you work on yourself, the more you work on being in peace with creation, even though with all of the madness around you, with all of the madness, and you're still calm, you're still content, nothing shakes you, you don't react. When you get to that point, then you become enlightened, and then this reality can be your heaven. But if you fall for the trap of society, and if you feed on the negativity that's thrown by people, by the media, by the wars, by all of this mess, then yes, it's going to become hell. Then life can be hell 1000%. And this leads to another subject, but I'm gonna, because otherwise I'm gonna speak for another 2 hours. But I hope that answers the question. Okay, here, let's see what else. Dallas is asking any suggestion on how to get better at tarot. Practicing. Getting better at tarot is all about practicing. But first, I highly recommend you, Dallas, please study the major arcanas. Please, anyone who wants to get better at tarot, and if you want to use tarot for the right purposes and become a good tarot reader that channels spirit and not the bullshit that you see everywhere about, please respect this knowledge. Please respect it. Please don't use it to know who's your ex and what's your ex is going to be like and who's thinking about you and who's not, and who's your next boyfriend or girlfriend. Please, you're disrespecting the craft, you're disrespecting this tool, and you're disrespecting yourself as well. Please. So this is for everyone as a reminder. And for Dallas's question, to get better at tarot, study the major arcanas. And this is also for everyone. Please study the major arcanas first before you even pull cards. Study major arcanas, read books about major arcanas, read the Eliphas Levi book. It's a big book. It's a big one. Eliphas Levi, and the book is called Dogme and Rituals. He's French. There's translation to English, Dogme et Rituel, but you can translate. There's translation in English, because that book is all about the mysteries of the major arcanas and how they're connected to Kabbalah, to astrology, to the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. And there are other books that you can also read from Eteia, from like many before Eliphas Levi. But you have to research the people, the occultists who made tarot widespread. You can check the Golden Dawn, what's written in their philosophy if you want, what Aleister Crowley has written as well, because his deck is amazing, the Crowley deck, the Thoth deck. Please educate yourself about the origin of tarot, about the meaning of the major arcanas, because I'm telling you this because that's what I did. That's what I did. I spent months and months reading and researching and figuring out what is this all about and who started it to begin with. Like, I'm going to tell you, Eliphas Levi was the first guy who made the connection between the Hebrew alphabet and the major arcanas. He was the first guy to do that. You would ask any tarot reader on the internet right now, I challenge them, they would not know the answer to this. They would not know. They wouldn't even know who Eliphas Levi is. They wouldn't even know that. Like, if you want, like, I understand. Like, listen, maybe I'm being harsh. To drive a car, if you want to drive, let's say, Mercedes, you don't need to know who Mercedes was to drive the Mercedes. You can just drive the Mercedes. I don't need to tell you who Mercedes was. But if you want to be the real master, the real deal, someone who's going to reach their philosopher's stone, you have to know these things. If you want to become a master, if you want to really know tarot and know where tarot came from, you have to first have some knowledge about where did this tradition come from, who wrote about it, who made it public, where did this thing even started. Not just, oh, I read this blog online, I bought this book from the store, it's a new age book that was published last year about tarot. The book was published last year, it's about tarot, I read it and now I'm a tarot reader. Like, I don't want to condemn people who write books, I don't want to condemn these things, but I want you to do things the right way. That's all. If you want to read some new age book about tarot, go read it. But I'm telling you, go to the source. Don't you want to learn from the source? Learn from the source, from the people who gave foundation to this knowledge. These people spend their whole lives just to make this knowledge available to us. And we want to dismiss that? So study the major arcanas. Major arcanas, study them. What are they? What are they? study them, and then study the other cards, see what they're all about. And then the final step is practice. Practice, 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 practice every single day. Practice with the people you know, practice with strangers, and first you do it for free. First, your first 100 reading, you have to do it for free. Go practice with your colleagues, with your coworkers, with your friends, with your family. Give free readings, free readings. Ask me a question, free readings, free readings. Practice, practice, practice. Sometimes you're going to be right, sometimes you're going to be wrong. Sometimes you're going to be able to channel, sometimes you won't be able to channel. I've had case scenarios when I was channeling, doing a free reading for some strangers, I remember, and I was stuck. And I'm like, and I didn't know what to say. I pulled the cards and I was stuck. That's going to happen. But practice, 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 practice. And over the years, you're not, over the years, you don't even, the moment you look at the card, just you start, you know, that's channeling spirit. You don't even need to, you don't even need like to think. You just start channeling the information, because that's what tarot is. It just helps you channel the information from spirit. So research it, the major arcanas, research tarot, read about the origin, what is it, where it came from, why is it even in card format, major arcanas, and then see what the other cards mean. Of course, the four elements, everyone knows that. The four suits, everyone knows that. But you can learn about that too. And then practice. It's all about practice. And then finally, when you use tarot, please don't use it for low vibrational things. Please don't use it for stupid things. Please, the moment you start pulling tarot to know if you need to go to the washroom, or if you know to, or if you need to take a nap, the moment you get to that level, come on. It's like, well, why are even your spirit guides? They're not gonna like it. They're not gonna like that. Even your spirit is gonna prevent you from doing that. So this is just like a little reminder for everyone who wants to read tarot or become better at tarot. Let's see, what else do we have here? Let's see, maybe one last question, and I close this. Let's see. Okay. Someone, Duck Lister said, since your last video of sacred geometry, I can't stop seeing the geometry around me. Duck Lister, my friend, that was your initiation to sacred geometry. If that's really what happened to you and you can't stop seeing geometry, that means it's your tool. It means you were initiated to this tool of sacred geometry. It's an amazing tool, because Doug Lister, in the beginning, that's what happened to me. I saw the flower of life. I started seeing geometry everywhere. The moment I saw it, more than a decade ago, the moment I saw it, and then after that, I just couldn't stop seeing geometry everywhere. And for you, that was your initiation. And I was laughing because it's just funny how like things are coming full circle. Like my video is allowing someone to have that kind of initiation or interaction, and I'm so happy for that. I'm so happy, because that was my goal from the beginning, is to show other people this knowledge, is to make other people aware of this. And if it is happening, it's amazing. And in your turn, you will know in your path what to do with this. You will know in time, with this beautiful sacred geometry, what are you going to do with it? Where is it going to lead you? And what kind of transformation path is it going to guide you to? So sacred geometry is amazing. I really want to I want to teach more about it. I want to talk more about it. But again, it's like I want to kind of fuse it with alchemy as well, because they're both very important. But remember that the world is all geometric. Our bodies are geometric. Everything you see in nature is geometric. That's why a lot of these temples the ancient temples. Like I went to Angkor Wat, and it was one of the most magnificent temples I've ever seen in my life. And Angkor Wat in Cambodia, it's built based on geometry. It's purely geometric, pure, beautiful geometry. Why is everyone obsessed with the Pyramid of Giza? Because it's purely geometric. Because the geometry, it's not because it's fun, it's because the geometry reflects spirit. The golden ratio, when you build something following the golden ratio, it reflects spirit. It reflects what the things we don't see. And that's why people become fascinated. That's why everyone is fascinated with the pyramid, even though the pyramid was just a gigantic uh, sort of plan to generate energy. That's all there was. But how come we're not obsessed with an engine? It's like us nowadays being obsessed with a car engine. How come we're not obsessed with that? Because the way it's made, it doesn't have any beautiful geometry on it. But when you look at the pyramid, it follows the golden ratio. When you look at these ancient temples, how they're built, following sacred geometry, the golden ratio, you're stunned. You become stunned. You become, again, what I mentioned about being still, that stillness of wisdom that the crystals and the rocks have, that the enlightened people have. Sacred geometry gives you that. You look at geometry and you feel still. You become, why? Because your that geometry opens up a portal to spirit. So you're connecting to spirit through geometry. And that's why you become still, because the moment you connect to spirit, you're still. You have that stillness within you. So you're reflecting like your enlightened state. But the goal is to be always enlightened. But sometimes the people who are on this path, sometimes they're enlightened, sometimes they're not. So sometimes you reflect that enlightenment, and sometimes you're not reflecting it. But when you see sacred geometry, when you see this beautiful flame, when you see fire, you look at fire, and the bigger it is, the better it is. But even a candle, and you're stunned. You look at the fire. I can stare at the fire for 30 minutes nonstop. Just how it moves and how beautiful it is. That makes you still. It makes you calm down. It makes you like in that state. And that's the role of meditation too. That's why Buddhists say you have to meditate, because it puts you in that it's not about, oh, you're supposed to see things or this. No, it's so you can have that stillness, because stillness is spirit. Spirit is beautiful because of the stillness of it. So geometry is a portal to the spirit realm. That's why my sigils, they're very geometric. And sigils in general are portals to other dimensions. Art, even if the art doesn't have geometry, it's something that opens up the spirit realm. That's why when you see the piece of art and you're like mesmerized, you see like a painting and you can't move. You're like this. You're like, and your mouth is open from being flabbergasted with the piece. That's a connection to spirit. So artists are doing an amazing job around the world because they make you connect to spirit through their pieces of art. So art does that. Geometry does that. Sacred geometry does that. And that's why when you go to cities, our modern cities, unfortunately, especially in North America, the cities are soulless. They don't have a soul because the buildings don't follow any sacred geometry. The buildings don't follow any golden ratio. You go and you feel the city doesn't have a soul. You feel it's empty. It's just buildings. It's just these rectangles everywhere. It's these boxes here, boxes everywhere. And you feel like the city doesn't have a soul. It's empty. Why? Because it's lacking spirit. But when you visit ancient temples, go to Greece, for example, see the temples there. You'll be like you wouldn't move. You go to any ancient temple in the Mediterranean. You're stunned. You literally stop, and you're like, whoa. And you feel like you want to sit there and meditate. You don't even want to move away. You want to sit there for a while. That's you connecting to spirit through the geometry. That's why a lot of these ancient European cities are beautiful when you visit them, like Prague, for example, in the Republic Czech. Prague is a city that's just, the buildings are just, you feel like a spirit everywhere. You feel like the place has a soul. You feel like the place is alive. And you look at the buildings and they reflect that. The buildings are pieces of art. Every building is just a piece of art. That's why when people go to museums, they feel so good, especially if it's a beautiful museum. Like museums, there are museums that are boring, but if you go to a museum that have some beautiful paintings from the medieval times or from the Renaissance, and you're just like, you're mesmerized, you're happy, you feel good. That's spirit. That's connection to spirit. Connection to spirit is not always meditation. It's sometimes connecting to beauty. And unfortunately, we're having less and less of it around the world because our buildings don't have spirit. Our buildings are not built based on the golden ratio. They're not following sacred geometry. Check Leonardo da Vinci's paintings. They're all following the golden ratio, all of them. That's why his paintings are incredible. I'm not talking about the Mona Lisa. Check his other paintings. Or check any paintings from these renowned painters. You're going to find they're always applying the golden ratio in their paintings. And that's why you can't stop looking at the painting. When you look at the painting, you can't stop looking at it. You want to just look at it for hours. It's making you connect to spirit. So if humans would follow this sacred geometry and golden ratio in everything they do in their daily life, the world would be a very different place. The world, actually, that's how Atlantis was. That's why Atlantis was mesmerizing. That's why Atlantis was just it was like it's like a world of fantasy. But they screwed up. They messed up. They screwed up. So if you want to understand a little bit how this works, you have to visit some ancient temples around the world, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And all of these ancient temples, all of them, either in Southern America, if you go to the Mediterranean, if you go to the Middle East, if you go to Asia, all of them follow the golden ratio, sacred geometry, all of them. And that's why these temples are still, even until this day, they're incredible. They're just incredible. And the buildings we build every day from just 10 years ago, they look like crap. You feel like they give you depression. You look at the building and you're in some city that's full of boxes and buildings and you feel depressed. Unfortunately, we lost that art. We lost it. Yeah. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here because this is it's been 2 hours and 40 minutes. Thank you guys. Thank you. You guys are amazing for sticking around. I really, really appreciate it. But this is something that I haven't had done a live in a long time, but I had to share this with you. It came to me. It was actually the state of it was I couldn't settle. I had to let it out. My spirit was pushing me. You have to do the live. You have to do live. You have to do live and say this stuff. You have to do live and say this stuff. So I couldn't even settle. I just literally I just had to share with you what I shared. Please remember that life on Earth, this is something that a lot of humans struggle with, and I've been struggling with it myself for years and years. And sometimes I'm still because we're all on this journey. Please don't condemn life. Life is tough. Life is full of suffering. Life is not fair. Life is just, it's a lot of hard things that you have to deal with. But don't condemn it. And don't condemn others. No one is doing this to you. You always have the choice. Don't condemn others. Don't condemn life. Always look what's within you. Always remember that you have the choice. Go back to the beginning of this video. I talked about it. You can, at any moment in time, drop everything. You can drop these heavy things that you have. You can drop them and move on to a different path, to a different dimension. Yeah, like as I mentioned earlier, some of you like to call it quantum shifting. You can quantum shift and go to a different path overnight. Overnight. You have that power. The choice is yours. You know why? Because I did it. If I did it, why can't you do it? Some others have done it as well. And it's not by ayahuasca. It's not by taking mushrooms. Come on, please. Let's not talk about this thing again. Some people go to an ayahuasca retreat and they're like, that's it, I'm changed, I'm changed. This is a work of a lifetime. I'm talking about you sitting by yourself and wanting to transform, wanting to trigger the death card in tarot. You're like, this is my time. This is the death card. I need to, this me needs to be behind me. And the new me has to be reborn. You have the power to do that. You have. You drop everything. You start from scratch. As I said, you even give yourself a new name. The initiates in ancient Egypt, all of them were ordered to give themselves a new name because the old name doesn't resonate with their frequency anymore. So they were all the masters would give the disciples, would give the initiates new names, and they don't use their old names anymore. They just don't. And this exists in Hinduism as well. When you initiated in Hinduism by a guru, he gives you a new name, and you start using that name. You don't use your old name anymore. So that's even shows you how serious this is. You don't use your name anymore. That's how serious it is. So you have that power. It just takes a lot of courage, a lot of work. This is not something that ayahuasca is going to do for you. Please, please. Ayahuasca is not going to do this for you. It's not. Just, I'm telling you, like upfront, it's not going to do this for you. This has to come from within you. No drug is going to do this for you. You can only do it to yourself. And it's going to take some time. You have to be willing to go through this journey. And you're listening to this because you are willing. Otherwise, this video won't come your way. Because this is not for the faint-hearted. It's not. It's a tough journey. So I'm just preparing you. But you won't regret it because it's so liberating. It's so, so, so liberating. You feel free. You feel like you're on top of the clouds. Sometimes you don't, but most of the time you do. Sometimes you feel like pulled back into that nasty toxicity. Sometimes that's going to happen. But most of the time, it's amazing. And I'm not talking about finances or money. I'm not talking about inside you, who you are, about how you feel about yourself. That's what I'm talking about. Okay? So thank you guys. You have the power. That's why I always say you have the power to go through this transformation. If alchemy sits well with you, use it. It's an amazing tool. And research alchemy, try to watch the stuff I share in my channel, because a lot of the alchemy concepts that you're going to find somewhere else is all new agey. This one thing I actually forgot to mention. Sorry, just there's so many things. Because this is the life. This is the work of a lifetime. It's the work of years and years. It's hard to just say it in a few hours. Alchemy, there's a lot of information. Just this is the last point. This is a lot of alchemy information in the New Age community that's just not really alchemy. Okay, a lot of people call themselves alchemists, and they share concepts that are psychology. Okay, because a lot of alchemy concepts came from Carl Jung. Carl Jung is a famous psychologist, and he's a writer, he's an author, and he's huge in the New Age community. He's huge, 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 especially in America, in the United States. He's huge. So he talks about alchemy, but a lot of people in the US, they take what he says only and they label that as alchemy. No. Alchemy, you want to know real alchemy? Go to medieval times, Europe, and the Arabs, ancient Greeks, ancient Egypt, even China. You know, they have their own alchemy. It's a little bit different, and it's amazing. China has their own alchemy. It's a bit different. Go to the source of alchemy. It's actually what I'm sharing with you guys in my channel. That's where I get my stuff from. It's from the original alchemical sources or texts from medieval times, from 12th century, 13th century, from when the Arabs had it, from the 8th century to the 12th century, because the Arabs excelled at alchemy and occult sciences, and then the Europeans translated that starting from the 12th century. They started translating from Arabic to Latin. But then the Arabs got that from the Greeks, from the ancient Greeks, and the Greeks got that from ancient Egypt. And ancient Egypt got that from, well, you know it, Atlantis. So please, there's a lot of the new age alchemy is gonna confuse you even more, because at first that's what I used to think. Alchemy is confusing, but when you start reading new age alchemy, it's like you're like, what is this person talking about? What are they saying? They make it into a psychology like essay. It becomes a psychology essay from that. What is, that's not alchemy. That's not alchemy. Again, please, it's like yoga, it's like meditation. Anything that reaches the US, it gets messed up. The moment it hits the United States, it just strays away from what it is. And the same thing for alchemy. So please, you want to learn about real alchemy, read the old texts from the real alchemists. Paracelsus, Nicolas Flamel, Basil Valentine, John Dee. Read their texts, the real alchemists that actually even claimed to have reached the philosopher's stone. The real one, not the spiritual one. I'm talking about the stone, because that's for another live or for another video. The philosopher's stone, the real one, exists. This is not the spiritual new age alchemy. They say no. They say no. The philosopher's stone doesn't exist. It's just a theory. It doesn't exist. It does exist. It did. Nicolas Flamel, how do you think he became rich overnight? Because he produced the stone, the real stone. He produced it, Nicolas Flamel. So please, you want to learn alchemy? You think alchemy is for you? You can either watch my channel or research the roots. Go to the old texts, the old books, see what they say about alchemy. The new age alchemy is just going to confuse you, and it's gonna make you hate alchemy. It's like the vegans who start tainting the reputation of a plant-based diet, and now everyone hates veganism, and people, they're like, oh, that's a load of BS. It's because they confuse people about what veganism is. So that's one thing I want to mention, because alchemy is amazing. It's beautiful, and just don't get confused. It's so easy to be confused in the new age. It's so easy. Same with the Emerald Tablet, the real one that I share in this channel, which is the source of alchemy. It's only one, the Emerald Tablet of Hermes Trismegistus. Yet everyone in the US talks about the book of Thoth that's written in the 30s by this author called Maurice Doriol. So you know how many comments I got when I posted the video, the Emerald Tablet of Hermes Trismegistus, and so many people wrote me saying, I'm reading the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean, and I'm excited. And I'm like, and I tell them, guys, they're different. They're completely different. That's an author who wrote a book in the 30s. It has nothing to do with the alchemical hermetic tablet from Hermes Trismegistus. It's just someone in the 30s wrote a book and confused everyone. He confused everyone in the US, because when I check people from Europe, they're not confused. In Europe, people are not confused. They know the Emerald Tablet. They know that it comes from Hermes Trismegistus. They know the one tablet of alchemy. If you go to France, if you go to Germany, if you go to England, people are not confused. In the US, everyone thinks it's this book written in the 30s. Again, I mean, as much as I thank the New Age for spreading what it is, spreading spirituality, as much as I'm like, it's confusing the heck out of people. It's misinforming people about so many things. And it's luring people too. It's luring you to go different directions. And It's not teaching you exactly what yoga is supposed to be, and now it's a sport. It's confusing you about meditation, and you don't really know why you're meditating to begin with. I had to learn meditation the proper way when I went to the temple in a mountain in Thailand in the middle of nowhere last year, and I spent there 2 weeks and I learned meditation from the monks. And then I'm like, how come I've never learned about this in the West? This is what real meditation is? Okay, this is amazing. But how come in the West it's so skewed and different? It's completely different. I had to go to a temple in the middle of nowhere to learn it, to know what is this. Always go to the source. Always go to the, don't be fooled. You're gonna get fooled, you're gonna be misled, you're gonna be tricked, you're gonna be, please, do your own research. Use your mind. Don't be fooled. So the same goes for alchemy. The same goes for alchemy. Okay? All right. It's been almost 3 hours. Thank you guys for sticking around. Someone wrote, this is true. I live in the US. The people around interpret these ideas in different ways. They corrupt. Exactly. They corrupt the original meaning. Yes. Thank you. When timelines align. You wrote this. That's you put it in beautifully in words. They corrupt the original meaning. And again, I really try not to condemn anyone who's writing this, or you do you. You want to write something, do it. But it's your duty as an, if you want to become an alchemist, to do the proper research. Just don't be tricked, because I was tricked in the beginning as well. So I'm telling you this. It's my experience, and I'm telling you that I was tricked. I was learning something that was not alchemy. That's why I was confused in the beginning. I'm like, well, alchemy, well, okay, well, this is cool, and I'm trying to find information, and then one day the universe aligned me with the proper sources, and I'm like, wow, this is alchemy. This is fascinating, and that's what I'm sharing with you in this channel. Hopefully it helps. Hopefully it helps. Okay. Thank you, guys. And thank you for sticking around. I hope this helps. It's been a long live. I wish I could answer more of your questions, but it's just I answered some. Hopefully it helps. Maybe in the next live I'll do more. I'll answer more of your questions. I'll schedule something. I'll have you prepare the questions, and then when we do the live, I can just answer the questions. That way it's easier, and I can answer more questions for all of you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. And have an amazing day wherever you are. Have an amazing, amazing day.